Hey everyone, it's been a couple of weeks since the last stream, so just getting used to the settings here. Sorry about the camera, that's it. So yeah, I got no one watching at the moment. This is for those of you who have tuned in later. I've been quite busy recently. I've been ill. I've also been fasting for Lent. So I decided while I was fasting that I was not going to shave for the entire 46 days. So it's been a while now, and it doesn't look as good as I was hoping. I'm gonna trim it down after I hit past Easter Sunday. Hopefully have a better design, either that or I'm gonna get frustrated and shave it all off. But yeah, that was one of the things I decided I was going to give up for Lent. The another thing was cannabis. I gave up cannabis for Lent. It's going to be 45 days in total. What's it, the 15th of April today? I started on so got about 4 days left till Easter Sunday. And that is going to be the longest I've been without cannabis since I was about 14 years old. So going back about 23 years now. That's quite an achievement. I'm going to be smoking on Sunday as it's 420, and Sundays are the days in Lent when you're supposed to rejoice for the Lord has risen. So yeah, I'm not sure if the chat's on at the moment, so I'm going to just go onto my other channel and see if that's working. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done this, so I wasn't exactly fresh with doing it to begin with, but it might be a little bit rusty now. And I'm not able to see my video come up. One sec. That's probably... maybe it's not been made public yet. Hey Siddiqui, how you doing? Oh, thank you. It's been a while. It's been about this long. I've definitely grown a beard over the past 40 odd days. Yeah, how are you doing? It's good to see you back. It's always good to have you here. You're my number one mod. And yeah, how's your Shawwal going? Shawwal Saeed, by the way. Hey, Ezen Bracelets. Good to meet you. I'm not sure if I'm saying that name right, but it's great to have you here. So yeah, I'm gonna sort the chat. I can't actually see my video come up on the other screen. One sec. I'm gonna try coming out of YouTube and going back in. It's just so I'll be able to see the messages in case the screen freezes on this one, which it's done before. Hey, the Welsh guy. How's it going? Hola. Nice to have you with us. So yeah, I'll have the stream going in a few moments. Just gonna try and sort out these technical issues. Feb Alice Lau, Cristiano Ronaldo, I love you. Come to Besiktas. If you're calling me Cristiano Ronaldo, I'll take that as a massive compliment. I think he's got an amazing physique, and the guy can jump very high when he goes to head of the ball. Don't really watch football anymore, but if I did, I imagine that he would be one of the ones that I watch for. I've got no luck so far. Here it is, live stream. Sorted. Brilliant. Awesome. I'm glad you're doing well, Christina. It's been a while. I've missed being able to talk to you. I've missed our old chats and the comments on my old videos. Feels almost like it's a different era now. It feels so long ago. Eason Bracelets. My name is Daryl Golden. It's a very strange name. I don't really know where it comes from. It sounds a bit Jewish, but I'm not a Jew. I know that if you see the side profile of my nose, it kind of makes it look that way. But I do videos on many different religions. I've got a lot of respect for a lot of different religions, and like I've got at the moment wearing a 5-pointed Vajra, which my partner got me. Wait a minute, someone is posting a lot of Islam flags. I think that's Islam. I'm not sure. It almost looks like the flag of China as well, as they have the four stars that go around almost like a crescent moon, and the one bigger star that's said to be leading the way, and it's a red flag. I have noticed that about China. Their flag seems to be very similar to the red flag that you're posting here. I'm afraid, Alice Lau, you're going to end up being removed from the chat if you keep spamming that, sir. Won't be able to see everyone else's comments if you continue to do this. Just thought I'd give you a warning. It's Anthony Bird. Sorry, Anthony Bird. Respectfully, you have a Harry Potter went to college and fell in love with the ganja, married with a Jamaican girl and settled down. I love that. I would definitely take that. That would be an awesome life to lead. And yeah, I definitely have spent most of my life on the ganja. I've just spent the past 40 days, I think. What is it? In 5 days' time, gonna be 420. That'll be the 45th day. So 40 days now without cannabis. And it's not been easy, but it's been a lot easier than I thought it would. And oh my God, my dreams have been phenomenal. So vivid. I've been able to remember them fully when I've woken up. I had one dream. I was on a bus and I was cooking because there was a random oven and a stove on the bus. So I started cooking myself chips, but not in the oven, started shallow frying them. And I was lucky because the bus actually stopped at my stop. And the driver was polite enough to wait until I'd finished cooking. And I didn't even have a plate or anything. I just picked the chips up in my hand and clutched them to my chest and walked off the bus. It was so bizarre. But yeah, I realized why I smoke so much these days. It's so that I don't dream like that. Yes, brilliant. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate the. Oh, thank you, Siddiqui. I appreciate you removing the spammer. So yeah, welcome to my channel, everyone. I'm gonna do my best to try and keep up with these. It's turkey flag. That's it. Do I wish to be a famous YouTuber? Not particularly. I'm not a big fan of fame, to be honest. I enjoy doing these talks. I enjoy giving a space here so that we've got a place where we can talk about these kind of things, because I talk about subjects that you don't really hear everywhere. And it's nice to be able to have a place where you can come talk on the chat amongst yourselves. I'll waffle on about this and that. And sometimes it will inspire ideas, especially if you're into the sort of things that I'm into. Otherwise, it'd just be interesting to hear some random things. As I talk a lot about the side of religion that no one likes to delve into. I talk a lot about different um, syncretic truths, some different things that are syncretized. If you're not sure what syncretism is, it's where they decide to compile a lot of information together, and you will have hidden knowledge inside of the books and scriptures. You have hidden knowledge in the zodiac wheel. There's hidden knowledge everywhere that if you are aware of what you're looking at, you manage to pick up on what they're trying to express. So there's different things like that that I like to do. That's why I like doing my channel. I enjoy having the space to talk about these things, and I like having people join that like to talk about these things. I mean, obviously, if this isn't for you, there's plenty of other channels. If you like this kind of thing, you're welcome to hang around with us. So yeah, there's vibe. Yeah, Harry Potter vibe. That's it. They changed their name again. I think that was the one that was posting the Turkey flag. That's it. So yes, hello to Turkey. It's a cool place. I think that. Hang on a second. That's it. Looks a little bit better when that's offside. So yeah, recently I've been fasting. I was fasting for Lent, as I really enjoy fasting. How do I live? I tend to breathe. Big breath in, big breath out. And I eat mainly fruit. Um, yeah, just quickly run down how I live. I mainly eat fruit. I stopped working in November. Before that, I used to work in construction, and before that, I was 15 years living as a fencer, so building fences and sheds. Recently been looking after my partner and spend a lot of time with my partner and my mum. Been just trying not to take things for granted, trying to enjoy the time I've got left with the people I love. And other than that, just been trying to look after my health. I've been fasting. Every year I fast for Lent. And for the past couple of years, I've included the Ramadan fast because I like doing the dry fasting. So there's that. And at the moment, I'm on a dry fast. I've been dry fasting since 5 o'clock yesterday morning. I'm going to see if I can go through till tomorrow as well. It'll be the longest dry fast that I've ever done because I've managed to make it 25 hours before, and I've made it maybe 27 on another occasion. And now this is going to be the longest stretch that I'm doing. I'm hoping to build up to be able to do over a week. I'm going to see if I can beat 7 days because I don't believe that you die after 3 days without liquids. So yeah, Siddiqui, asking, do I like to travel to other countries? I would love to, but I don't actually have a working passport. I have I've been to Ireland. I've been there when I was 12 years old. It was a wonderful place, and I would love to go to lots of different places. I've been learning how to speak a few different languages. I've started learning Japanese a few years ago, Arabic a couple of years back, and I'd love to visit some of the countries where I'd be able to utilize this once I've learned how to speak them properly. But I'm a noob at the moment. I'm okay at asking very basic questions. Uh, find it very hard to speak. I find it quite hard to read and write as well. It's a lot trying to take on languages. Also, I tend to have a trouble with sticking to one thing at a time. As I was born in the month of Aries, I find it very difficult to stick with something until it's completed, as Aries is the first of the 12 zodiac animals, and we have trouble being able to see something through to the end. We love starting things. We don't like to stick around and finish them. Aries puts the A in ADHD. Yeah, I would really like to go to Japan. That's one of the places that I'd like to visit the most. And that's one of the places that it seems to be a different world. Even when you see like devout Muslims in Japan don't wear the hijab, they're just everyone kind of goes around in the traditional areas just dressed in a way that's not revealing. It's not, it's very moderately dressed to begin with. So it's a completely different world. That's a place that I definitely would like to see. Not so much Japan, not like the Pokemon centers and that kind of thing. I'd take my partner to see those things, but I'm more interested in like the Kyoto, the more traditional areas of Japan where you'd see a lot more of the history, a lot more of the relaxed and calm ways of living. I know everything's a bit modernized these days, but yeah, it'd be nice to see some of the old world that's still there. So yeah, I've been getting into the idea of dry fasting recently because I think it's the next step from being able to do the water fasting and juice fasting. For Lent, I've been eating nothing but fruit for the 46 days. Then for uh, the sunrise to sunset during the days of Ramadan, I was dry fasting. So that was 30 days of, uh, what is it, from safe, because I'd often not eat when I woke up. So it'd be like from the night before until 6 p.m. of dry fasting. Yeah. Siddiqui, there's I heard of Shawwal, which is you can do 6 days of fasting for Shawwal. I did 3 of those and then decided to do a dry fast as long as I could. And I figured that it's not going to be as um, I'm not going to be able to go for very long on the dry fast, but where I've had a lot of build up to doing it at this moment, I'm going to see if I can make it to. I'm doing 2 days. I want to make it past 48 hours. I'm not entirely sure about doing 3 days. as I don't think my body's quite prepared for that. But for the day before I started doing this dry fast, because I knew it was going to be an extended one, I decided to have some avocados and some spinach and some lettuce that had a bit of salt on, and some cucumber. And basically, it just replenished a lot of minerals because it's the pink Himalayan salt. It's replenished a lot of the minerals and given me a little bit more body fat from the avocados. I had about 5 of them. So it's just given me every fighting chance to try and get through this period of dry fasting without suffering as such. Ah, thank you very much. Salute received. It's something that I'm trying to work up to because I've seen people recently. There's a guy called Trevor who will put his video in the show notes. I saw him on Justin Carpenter's channel. They were talking about doing dry fasting longer than 3 days. Justin Carpenter recently done one for 6 days, and Trevor has managed to do 21 days. And I blew my mind the ideas of 21 days of dry fasting, as the general belief is you will die after 3 days of having no water. But if you put your body in a condition and a certain state before you go into it, and you manage to do very little throughout the day, like not getting a serious amount of sun beating down on you, not a strenuous amount of work that will cause you to sweat and lose fluid, it is possible for you to get into a state of autophagy, and your body starts breaking down all of the things inside of you, all of the things that are like malignant tumors or mutated cells, and they start breaking these things down, and you're able to release the waste and use all of the available parts that are still good for you. Siddiqui, I'm not going 21 days. It does sound like it's way beyond what I'd be capable of. But these are people like there's groups in Russia that spend their lives doing it. They build their body up. They eat specific diets leading up to it, and they build up a lot of body fat because you need quite a lot of body fat to be able to go on an extended dry fast for you to be able to break down and use these things. So I would not be ready for it. Like I'm going to try and do up to 3 days at the moment, but I'm not planning on going past the third day. I want to listen to my body as well and try and get used to all of the feelings, because I've done loads of dry fasting, mainly like over Ramadan and other things. But like Yom Kippur last year, I did the 25 hours, and yeah, it needs years of training, years of conditioning your body, getting into a state where your body's used to dealing with these things. I'm not going to be ready for a couple of years, I don't think. But what I can do in the meantime is get my body used to going for 2 days and then maybe 3 days, and just slowly build up from there and make sure that I condition my body right leading up to it. One of the things I have noticed that's quite interesting is that you find it hard to sleep when you're dry fasting. I found it a little difficult last night, and that was when I went to bed already tired, then did some breathing exercises to try and calm my nervous system. And even after that point, it still took about half an hour as my brain was wide awake. I was just thinking about a lot of things. They say because when you dry fast, you've had no food or water, your body releases cortisol into the system, which is the fight or flight drug. It's the fight or flight hormone that your body releases, and this suppresses your appetite, but it also keeps you awake. The idea is your body's trying to keep you awake so that you'll be able to find food and find water, because it can tell that it's starving and feeling the thirst. I'm not actually that thirsty at the moment, which is quite impressive. Usually feel quite thirsty just after when it gets to the last hour of Ramadan. So I'm about, was it since 5 o'clock yesterday? Yeah, since 5 o'clock yesterday morning. So not sure what that would be. At 5 o'clock this morning, it would have been 24 hours. We're now nearly 7 o'clock. So it's another 14 hours. So I'm about 38 hours in to dry fasting at the moment. It's the longest I've ever done a dry fast for. And my throat isn't as dry as it was on the first few attempts that I did. So yeah, things are improving, but I've still got a long way to go to try and do what those guys were doing. I'll leave a link to the videos if anyone's interested, but It's incredible some of the things that are possible with the human body. Even the breathing exercise I was doing was the Wim Hof breathing exercise. He's a guy that goes through loads of harsh body conditioning. Eastern Bracelets, good to have you back. And yeah, Wim Hof, the guy I do his breathing method, he's someone that has done ridiculous feats of defying what the human body is capable of doing, like going climbing Mount Everest in its shorts and barefoot, I think, going through doing a marathon in the desert without a glass of water, just ridiculous things, which I'm not looking at doing anything like that. I'm not an extremist, but I do like to take my body to the extremes when it comes to watching for health. It's because I had discovered fasting a few years ago, and the benefits from fasting have just changed my life completely. It's blown my mind how many different benefits that I've gotten from it. So, taking some advice from the ancient masters and trying to do as much research as possible into what I can do in order to allow my body to release everything it no longer needs. And one of the things is that if you're living in the Western world, I live in the UK, a lot of people in America, they suffer a little bit more from this. There's the SAD diet, the standard American diet. They call it the SAD diet because a lot of the things they tend to not be so healthy for you. People pick up a lot of parasites from food. And this isn't just from eating meat or anything like that. There's a lot of parasites and just due to bad handling of food and different things that happen along the way. And the parasites can live rent free in your body for years if they're undetected. So these are things that when I discovered this was a thing, I decided I wanted to do my best to get rid of them. And the old ways are if you don't feed them, they will leave. So I figure that my body can survive a lot longer than their bodies can without food and water. And if I was to, like, as I've carefully transitioned myself to this stage, I stopped having meat and animal products a couple of years back. And a lot of what I have is fruit, or I do cooked vegetable food and stuff like that. But a lot of what I have is hydrating fruit. All I drink is fruit juice, the occasional other drinks like, I don't know, hot lemon and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been over the years bringing myself a little bit closer to this feeling that just feels right. It feels like it resonates with me. It's something that I feel like my sensitivity is heightened to real extremes. A few days ago, I felt like I fully understood everything that I needed to understand about life and how it works. And it's something that I feel like I've got the biggest faith in our Lord, who lords over us, our higher self, whichever way you want to reword it. There's many, many different names that it goes by, but God. Anyone that does goodwill does God's will. And this is the God, not the one that you hear about in the churches, not the one that you hear about as a man in the sky, not like Zeus from the ancient Greek texts. It's not someone that is a human, that errs like a human. This is talking about our higher self, our higher mind in this simulation of life, in the physical world in itself, in its own nature, is a simulation. They say that it's ruled by the harvest god, Saturn. They also say in the Bible that this is Satan's world, or Satan is a play on Saturn. All of this physical world, it's like a simulation. It doesn't mean it's any less real as we're walking around in it. You say it's not real as much as you like, but you stand in front of a truck moving at 70 miles an hour, it's going to hurt. Thanks to George Carlin for that perspective. This is what I feel about the physical world. We're here to receive the pleasure and pain, which is a great teacher for us. Pain is the best teacher. And that, I think, was what helped me to find my way towards this path. Was a lot of things really that led to it, but one of them was the amount of pain that I put myself in. I had permanent pain in my stomach, in my side, and I was drinking very heavily. and I was eating a load of rubbish. It was like 3 McDonald's breakfasts a day and then lunch, like a horrible diet, a horrible amount of abuse that I was doing to my body. And then I went from that extreme to the complete other extreme. I started first just cutting meat out of my diet to see if the vegetarian food was any healthier. Didn't find too much improvement, but then I cut out dairy products. I had to give up cheese, which was horrible. I absolutely love cheese. Giving up cheese is worse than giving up drugs, honestly. And I cut out cheese and eggs and uh, eventually then honey and other things like other animal products. I'd say the only animal product I still consume today is shellac, and that's not exactly something that I want to consume. It's just very hard to find apples and oranges that haven't been coated in it. So yeah, a lot of that gets put into processed food as well. If you check the E numbers, you'll find that they often disguise them by putting an E number down, but it's often different things. Like there's shellac is, I forget which E number now, is an insect secretion that they use as a wax to go across food to try and stop it from looking bad so that they can sell it for longer, and all sorts of marketing product uh, additives that they put in. So yeah, I cut out processed food. I remember before I discovered eating a fruitarian diet, I was getting really upset because I tried to go vegan, and I was looking at the sandwiches that were available in the co-op at the time, which was the closest place to where I was working. And I was getting frustrated that they didn't have any sandwiches there for vegans. It was like at bare minimum, everything had egg or cheese in it. And all of the time I was getting wound up about this, behind me was a massive selection of fruit. There was bananas, there was pears, there was mangoes, there was apples, there was oranges and strawberries. There was so many great fruits that hadn't even entered my mind. I'd never even considered the idea of just eating those. Those are like a snack in my mind. I didn't see them as full meals. And then afterwards, I started listening to videos from Justin Carpenter and Charlie Freak. And there was one of the videos where they were talking about, are people still eating bread? I'm like, well, what's wrong with bread? And then found out about candida and yeast and realized that that was one of the things that was causing athlete's foot. And I used to get tendonitis that flared up on this arm because of the nature of the work that I was doing. And when I cut yeast out of my diet, I found that I no longer had that problem. And I still eat bread now, but I have to eat homemade bread that's made without yeast. So it's completely altered the life path that I was on. I managed to clear up so many health problems that I had, and since then have never looked back. I occasionally dip in and have some processed food or something for the experience. Me and my partner will be going to a dim sum restaurant that we like, which does a lot of vegan selection. And that's about as close as I go back now to eating the way that I used to eat. Other than that, everything is more or less like that, and eating chips and stuff like that. Which, if that's the worst, that's as far as my diet dips down to, then I can live with that. That's something that I'm still able to maintain good health while doing it. And I do notice that at this time of year, when I do a lot of fasting and eat a lot of fruit or nothing but fruit, I find that the mind clarity is amazing. I managed to completely lose all of the brain fog. I have it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Every time I do Lent without fail, by the fourth week, or any time I do an extended fast on just fruit, on the fourth week, I get really ill. I get severe like flu-like symptoms. This time around, I had a throat and chest infection because I'd gone out to a gig and I screamed along with some of the songs. It was a band called Bloodywood, and they do a really good song called Tu Jeet V Ray, and I was screaming it out at the top of my lungs, and I ended up causing a load of where my throat's not as calloused as it used to be. It caused a bit of strain, and it allowed infection to seep in, and it I managed to deal with it. It took about 4 or 5 days to completely get rid of it, but it was horrible feeling, horrible dry throat, lots of mucus coming out, lots of everything. It's just the body's way of getting rid of all of the toxins on the inside, especially when I was that deep into eating nothing but fruit and doing the sunrise to sunset dry fasts. It's something else. Like the level of detox, it comes quite fast and hard all of a sudden. But where I'd been having nothing but fruit, I had a large amount of vitamin C, a lot of weapons for my immune system to use. So I was able to deal with it quite quickly. My partner, who was fasting with me, she's ended her fast early. She's still suffering from the illness today. I wish her the speediest of recoveries. I'll be back with her in a couple of days. Came down to my mum's. There's a couple of things I need to do. Like, yeah, I'm just having a little general catch up here as it's been a couple of weeks since my last stream. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Otherwise, I'll just do my best to recap everything that's happened since. What was the last video? I think the last video was talking about Aries. I've been thinking a lot recently about the number 6 and its relation to the physical world. Like everything, 666 is said to be the number of the beast. There's many different things that they say about the Earth. The Earth is supposedly, the spherical Earth model is tipped on an axis of 66.6 degrees. You've got the distance between the Sun and Mars is supposed to be 1.666 astronomical units. There's the diameter of the moon is something like 6 times 6 times 600 or times 666 or something. You've got so many links of the number 6 being used in, like, the speed of sound is 666 knots per second or something. It's insane the amount of times that sixes will recur when it comes to things to do with the physical world. And if you were to look at the clock, so you've got a zodiac clock, which will have the Tropic of Cancer at the top and the Tropic of Capricorn at the bottom. And then you'll have Aries on the left side and you'll have Libra on the right side. So the Tropic of Cancer is at the 12 o'clock position. The Tropic of Cancer is at the 6 o'clock. Tropic of Cancer is at the 12 o'clock. Tropic of Capricorn is at the 6 o'clock position. And that being 6, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn has 6 letters. Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. Saturn is represented by the cube. There's a hexagon on top of Saturn in the NASA depictions. Hey, Triple X Temptation fan, welcome back. It's good to have you with us. I'm talking right now about the number 6 and about links to Saturn. So you got like Saturn being the 6th planet from the sun. You got Saturn has 6 letters. Saturday is the 6th day from Sunday. So you've got Saturn is always linked with the number 6. Saturn is also represented with a black cube, and the cube has 6 faces. Saturn in the NASA depiction has a hexagon on the top of its head, which has 6 sides. You also get the tefillin, which is used in Judaism, which is a black cube that is worn on the head. That is also Jewish, being 6 letters, Hebrew being 6 letters. Their day of Sabbath is Saturday, which is Saturn's day. You've got so many links when it comes to the physical realm between the number 6, between Saturn. And I don't see Saturn as, like, they demonize Saturn a lot, talking about him being the devil or Satan, which Satan in Hebrew just means the adversary or the opposer. So it's like you've got the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So the Tropic of Cancer is ruled by the moon. The Tropic of Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. If you were to look at the visible celestial objects in the sky, the moon is the one that you can see the closest and Saturn is the furthest away, going on what we can see with our eyes. So that would be the two opposing ends. Vasu Anan, you're back. Welcome back. Yes, Sensation fan saying you remember me talking about this with the Zodiac. That is true. Oh, wait, sorry, I misread that. Vasu Anan said, I am black. Oh, you're more than welcome here. There's no prejudice on this channel. Everyone's welcome, light, black, however, come as you are. I'm perfectly happy with absolutely everyone. Like, I mean, maybe say that child abusers are not on my list of people I would invite to a party and that kind of thing. But at the same point, if one happens to stumble across my channel, I wouldn't have a problem with them watching it because it might impart information that may help them find ways of changing their ways and no longer causing pain or damage to other people. Like, everyone's welcome on this channel. I mean, as long as you play by the rules, I've got some great moderators here that will remove you if you decide to go against the rules, which is basically don't spam anything on here. Treat everyone with respect. Don't go calling people names on here. I like this to be a nice space where people can come to and hang out, chat amongst yourselves. You're more than welcome. You can listen to me waffle on. I can waffle on for hours. Develop that skill over the years. Temptation fan, can you get mod? I will have a look into it. It's been a while since I've made anyone mod. There was another guy who was he turned up at the same time on the same day as you did. I'm not sure if you remember him. One Punch Man, Saitama. I've been meaning to make him a moderator as well, but I've forgotten how to do it, and the controls have changed since I had last done it on the YouTube app. So I've got to Google it and find out how to do it now. I did try and Google it and didn't get any answers last time, but I was pressed for time and decided to move on, and I haven't been back to give it another go since. But yeah, you're welcome to be a mod. Obviously, we're still a small channel at this point, and it's just a case of if people are going against the rules, people are spamming things or being like unnecessarily mean to people, like, this is something that we won't tolerate here. I mean, I don't mind if you want to call me a few things, that kind of thing. I've got thick skin. I'm not going to be upset with that. But I won't tolerate people harassing or insulting other people on the chat. That's just not cool. So yeah, I will make you a mod as soon as I manage to find out. I think what I need is to be able to find the name. I remember doing it for the previous mods. I had to find the name on the list of subscribers or something, and then after that I was able to go into a menu that allowed it. But yeah, it's something I'm going to have to look back into. So yeah, the idea with Saturn being linked to the number 6, 6 generally rules the physical world. And recently we've been watching wrestling, and something that stood out to me with wrestling always has these links to the alchemical world. They have the ring, the wrestling ring, they call it the squared circle, which is a term that comes up quite a lot in alchemy. It's something that comes up, excuse me. Sorry about that. Dry fasting is causing a lot of phlegm to come up. Yeah, the wrestling ring is often known as the squared circle, which in alchemy terms, they're always trying to find ways to square the circle. In Freemasonry, you have the square and the compass, or the compass is what's used to draw circles, and the square would be squaring the circle. The idea is that you're trying to place rules within freedom, so you're putting the square in the circle. For wrestling purposes, I think it's more that you have the square ring is easier to make than a circular ring, as you're able to have ropes up. It'd be a lot more difficult to try and get circular ropes. But it is interesting how it links in, and especially then with the links to Saturn. Well, Saturn has rings. Like the Lord of the Rings, you've got Sauron, who's one letter away from Saturn. Excuse me. The interest I have with Saturn is just so deep because it comes up everywhere. There's all the Saturn is Kronos in Greek mythology, which is Father Time, and Father Time, you've got the 12 different uh, segments of time. So you got the 12 different hours on the clock, the 12 different months of the year, got the 12 different animals of the zodiac, whether it's Eastern or Western zodiac, it's 12 different animals. And it all relates to time. And time is Father Time, which is Saturn. An old name for Saturn is L, which is conveniently the 12th letter of the alphabet. And L is what the Lites worship. They like the rules of Saturn, they like squaring the circle, they like placing rules and guidelines over us all as we live in the free world, but they've placed this square on us to try and keep us in order. Saturn is often about structure. You've got about the structure of time. Saturn rules over the bones, the skeleton in your body. So I find that I've met a couple of Capricorns that have very prominent skull shapes. Their skulls almost protrude from their faces. It's not with every Capricorn, though. I've met a lot of very attractive Capricorns as well. This is someone that I used to work with who just embodied the energy of the stern father, which is the Saturn side of Capricorn. I find that there's many links. Saturn was known as the god of the harvest, carries the sickle, which is also the scythe, which is what the Grim Reaper holds. The idea is you reap what you sow. Saturn is known as the god of karma. So anything you do on the physical world, what you give is what you get. What you put in is what you get back out. So the seeds that you sow are the fruits of the harvest that you will enjoy. So the idea of you've made your bed, now lie in it. That's what we're here on the physical world for. It's to test our what we put out into the world, and then what comes back generally is a reflection of that. So the interesting thing about in the middle of Capricorn, you get the 25th of December, which is the winter solstice. And it's also Christmas. So this is where you would get Santa Claus, and Santa is an anagram of Satan, which is what Saturn is often linked to. But then Satan, as I've said, is just Hebrew word for the opposer or the adversary. So it would effectively be like if you were playing a game against the computer when playing chess, the AI that you would play against would be, in effect, Saturn. Even having AI, I think, is quite an interesting link because Saturn is the eye of Sauron. Saturn also is the ruler of the third eye. So this would be the third eye chakra, the sixth chakra in the body, which is that all-seeing eye, because that's apparently the eye that gets turned on if you have the Kundalini awakening and the energy manages to shoot through all of your chakras. If all of your chakras are open, then it hits your third eye, bursts your third eye wide open, and you start feeling the light coming in through the crown chakra. And that's when you become one of the 144,000 that were mentioned in the Bible. It's not an amount of people that are going to be saved. It means that you've got 144,000 petals are open if you add up all of the petals of the chakras and then multiply them by the top two. So yeah, there's so many links between Saturn and the number 6, as then again with the sixth chakra, and as well as the number 12, which is 2 times the number 6. And the links between Saturn and Satan, and then Satan being Santa with the same letters, Santa, Satan. Then you have Santa is helped by the elves, and these are the elves, L being the 12th letter, L being an old name for Saturn. So all of these things just seem intricately linked. And even with Santa, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good, for goodness sake. That's basically the idea of Saturn. He is not the evil one that eats his children. That's just a reference to time, because time eats all of the children that it produces. Hey, some bracelets. How's it going? Welcome back. It's just talking about Saturn here. So there's many different things when it comes to links between Saturn and the number 6, as well as the number 12, which is quite impressive when you look at other things like wrestling. with wrestling, I always wondered years ago, the WWE Federation was, WWE was known as the World Wrestling Federation, which was the WWF. And they lost a court case against the World Wildlife Fund for being able to have that as their acronym. So I wasn't sure why this was, but Vince McMahon got really upset about having to change the lettering WWF to WWE. And then when I realized that the W actually comes from the Hebrew letter Vav, or Wow, as it was in ancient Hebrew, that is the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and F is the sixth letter of the English alphabet. So when you put WWF together, that's 666, which is the number of the beast, which is the number of Saturn. I think that a lot of the reasons why people will use these numbers is because they gain you success in the material world. In China, the number 6 is a lucky number. We're actually in Year of the Snake right now, which is the sixth animal in the Chinese zodiac. So the Chinese culture, they believe in fortune to do with money. People will pay a lot of money to have a license plate that has 666 on it because that is a lucky number. A lot of the people that I know in this world personally that had 666 as part of their username when they're playing online Call of Duty or whatever else, they include 666, and they are very physical based people. They don't believe in the spiritual world or anything that goes beyond what they know and what they can see with their physical eyes in the physical world, which is not a bad way to live if that's your cup of tea. Like, if that is the way that you like to live, make Saturn your god and just be on the right side, because Saturn will give you back what you put in. Like, obviously, I'm not saying go out and sacrifice children or anything crazy like that. That's just some mad, made up paganist stuff. There's people that do these kind of crazy things, and that is what I consider to be Satan worship in the realms of worshipping the devil, not Saturn worship as in Satan the opposer. But then when you're looking at what would oppose what, you would have the 6 is the 9 upside down, and 9 is divine. So the 6 is the opposite of what is divine. So you've got the spiritual worlds, which are the highest level, and then you've got everything in between, and then the physical world, which is the lowest level. And the lowest level is what provides the reflection of the divine. So they say that we were made in God's image. The physical world is a reflection of the spiritual world. And they say this is Satan's world. Well, it's Saturn's world. He crystallizes things into being. And that is Father Time, who eats his children because that's how time devours us all. So no matter who you are in this world, time will aid you, time will lead to your eventual death. And this is why they depict Saturn as eating his children. It's not a weird child killing cult like you see in many films or across many histories. One sec. I didn't see that question. How do you stream? At the moment on YouTube, but I'm thinking about using StreamYard, which was quite a reliable streaming platform that my friend Sam over at Imagine Freely Twin Flames used to use, and it was quite good. But I haven't gotten into looking at the terms and conditions of it or working out the logistics of it yet. So for now, I'm just using the YouTube streams. Yeah, I'm. I've actually made a couple of videos already about Saturn, but Saturn is the ruler of the spirit. The ruler of the simulations. So you'll see Saturn appears in a lot of computer games and consoles. So you got the Sega Saturn, used to be out years ago. You got the Xbox, and the box is a cube, which is related to Saturn. The X is also related to Saturn, as the X is the two X's that used to be placed on people's eyes. You see it in cartoons when people have been taken by the Reaper. When you die, you get the X's across the eyes. You used to have people would place coins with an X marked on them onto people's eyes in the olden days, which they would take with them to the other world. So the idea of X being linked to Saturn as well. It's quite interesting that Twitter became known as X, as that seems to also fit into the world of simulations, where a lot of the people on Twitter aren't even real people, but they're AI that are able to type and specifically uh, put out programmed responses and programmed points of view that they deliver to the world. Everything to do with simulation seems to be linked back to Saturn. Even the like, you get the Nintendo 64, and it'd be like, okay, well, where's the Saturn reference in that? Well, 64 is a cube number. It's 4 times 4 times 4. So it's a 4 by 4 by 4 cube. So that is linked to Saturn, as well as 4 being 4 timing. Like, you have 4 seasons in the year, and each of those seasons has 6 letters: spring, summer, autumn, winter, unless you're in the US, where you get fall instead of autumn, and fall is 4 letters. So you get season, even 6 letters. All of these to do with time, which is 4 letters. All of these linked to Saturn. The links will just continue endlessly between Saturn and the number 6. And it always seems to be that the physical world. Hey, Blame Dirty, awesome to have you with us. It's good to see you as well. How are you doing? I'm just doing a stream at the moment, which is a little bit of a catch-up stream, but I started talking about Saturn being linked to the physical world. I've actually got 6 likes at the minute, which is brilliant, because Saturn is just linked to the number 6 time and time again. It's even in the creation of the world, according to the Bible, the world was made in 6 days, which on the 7th day was the day of rest. So the sacred geometry, you have 6 circles fit around one circle, which makes the hexagon when you connect all of the dots, and then you get Metatron's cube, which is also another Saturn reference. Awesome. I'm glad you liked the stream, man. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on here, and I wasn't too fresh at doing them when I first started. So it's impressive that I haven't run into troubles yet so far. I thought I'd be a little bit rusty on something that I'd not yet perfected, but here we are. It's not going too badly. So yeah, I feel a mad sense of clarity at the moment, as I'm quite deep into a fast. I've been fasting now 40 days for Lent, and I did 30 days of Ramadan dry fasting in between. Also, there was Navaratri that happened. It started on Mother's Day, which was on the Sunday the 30th. I found that quite impressed. Like, I hadn't intended it, but because I was eating nothing but fruit for Lent, I actually was abided by the Sattvic diet for Navaratri as well. So I found that very interesting, that all of this is just linked in together so well. I decided to give up cannabis for Lent, and Lent finishes on Easter Sunday, which happens to be 420, which is the day when people go out to publicly protest cannabis being legalized by all smoking a joint in the middle of a park. It's done in Hyde Park in London. I've been probably 13 out of the past 15 years to this protest. It's something that I do believe in people legalizing weed. I don't think it should be done the way it's done in America, where you just get it being sold and monitored by the government. I think it's more that people should be allowed to grow it. I think there's a lot of benefits to people growing cannabis for medical reasons mainly. I've just gone 40 days without smoking it. I feel absolutely fine. I don't feel like there's any big hold of addiction. I actually found it a lot easier to give up this time because I stopped smoking with tobacco. Oh, wow. You're doing just fruits as well. It is very hard to begin with. I have to admit, that's one of the hardest things I ever done. Giving up cheese, man. That was one of the hardest things for me. I used to love cheese. I ate so many different types of cheese and eggs. I used to love omelets. Mushroom omelets were one of my favorite things to eat. And yeah, it's a difficult one, man. How are you feeling for it? And how long are you into it? Because I promise you, it does get easier with time. It's something that it's unbelievably difficult for about 2 weeks, and then after that, things sort of balance out. Eating nothing but fruit can be very taxing on your energy to begin with as well. Like I started eating fruit, and then immediately started doing a juice fast. 3 weeks in, unbelievable, man. You're doing very well. So yeah, like what have you been eating? I discovered a lot of things that I never realized that I liked when I started eating fruit, like mangoes. I didn't realize how much I love mangoes. And now I've got like so many fruits. Like watermelon is one of my favorites. Grapes are a favorite. I love oranges. They're my three favorites for juice. Like if I'm doing a juice fast, I'll try and have nothing but watermelon juice in a day, nothing but orange juice for a day, nothing but grape juice for a day. Like there's so many other fruits though that I've just found. Even jackfruit, one of my favorite fruits of all time, and I didn't even know these things existed until one day I heard on a Charlie Freak, Justin Carpenter podcast thing. They were talking about the like the king, queen, jack, and page of fruits. So the king would be the durian fruit, the jack would be the jackfruit, the mangosteen was the queen, and the coconut was the like page or princess. I thought that that was an incredible link, but I'd never heard of a jackfruit. And then I looked it up, and it tastes of bubblegum. Literally, bubblegum was designed to try and mimic the flavor of the jackfruit. And when you're chewing it, if you get one that's really ripe and it's really good, you'll just be chewing on it for ages. It will feel like you've actually got natural bubblegum that's come from a real live fruit. The trouble is they're very expensive in the UK. Like I paid £40 for a jackfruit. Blame dirty. Papaya is one of my ultimate favorites. And yeah, the protein is quite difficult if you first, like, when you first get into it, your body is reliant on protein. It's used to having protein. It takes a while for your body to adjust to being able to synthesize protein out of the amino acids of fruit. And I personally, I eat loads of nuts, so I get plenty of protein in my diet. But I go for periods where I have absolute zero protein, and I've managed to put on muscle in the gym while eating zero protein. So I don't think that it's as dire as they make out in medical science. However, this is not medical advice for anyone. Obviously, do your research. What I'm doing is my own personal path, and I found that I've had no personal problems with it. But I know that other people have, and I did to begin with find that I got quite fatigued easily in the gym, and I felt like I wasn't making many gains. So I started eating a lot more nuts and other things. It was only when I decided to test it out, to test the theory, that I went for 6 weeks of having nothing but juice. And I managed to, in this period at the gym, still increase the amount that I was lifting on the bench press and a few other things. I wouldn't recommend using it for bodybuilding, but there are people out there like Josh X who has done like bodybuilding on just fruit alone and managed to get up to what was it, bench pressing 100 kilo and things like that. So it's quite possible to do. And yeah, honestly, papaya is one of my favorites. I love having papaya with lime. If I squeeze a bit of lime onto the papaya and then eat the two together, I discovered that from someone else's suggestion on a channel I was watching, and it tastes incredible. But I don't always like that. I like to have just the taste of the papaya because just the taste of the papaya is amazing. But sometimes if I let it ripen a little bit too long and it's got a little bit of a tang to it, I'll add the lime to it and it tastes amazing. It's just got a really nice balance then of the sweet, sour, and kind of tangy flavor. But yeah, I find that that is one of my favorite fruits of all time. And I didn't even know what a papaya was until I started on this journey. When I first cut it open and there was papaya seeds in there, I was, wow, what even is this? And I've eaten the papaya seeds before because I hear it's really good for getting rid of parasites, but whether or not it worked, I have no idea. It's just, I've tried them crushed, they taste horrible. Swallowed them whole, it kind of just passed through whole. Yeah, it's generally now I just scrape them off. I do want to get a composter. Everything will go into a composter at some point. I'm looking more into that because I don't like just throwing everything in the bin, especially if it's fruit. It's all stuff that I could compost for a while if I get one of those indoor composters that can be sealed properly, and then take it out and scatter it across the like plants in the shared garden, hopefully without upsetting anyone. But yeah, if it's composted properly, I can't imagine anyone will be upset. Yeah, that would be something that I'm looking to do in the future. As everything I find is it's a journey. You're making changes step by step. Like when I first got into the fruit, I was still getting really angry when I'd see fruit flies everywhere. And I used to get a lot of fruit flies. And sometimes I'd buy coconuts and they'd manage to find their way into the plastic wrapping on the coconut, and they'd be all over the inside where they'd just been breeding and building up in number, and I'd be getting angry and I'd be like squishing them or slapping them when I saw them in the air, and just ruthless killer mentality. It was just like one day a penny dropped while I was in the middle of it. It was just like this realization came to me after I'd been on the fruits for a while. I was just like, these are living beings. They're just trying to survive like you and me. It's not something that they can help. They found food, so they went for it. Like, my God, I've been killing them as if like, I paid for this, go away, find your own. Like, what? Just low level of understanding of their being. And since then I've stopped killing things. I never used to like killing insects, but I'd swat flies all the time. Like, I'd never kill spiders, but then spiders were my friends who caught the flies. Like, now I don't even swat flies. Even if we get flies in the room, I just wait for the fly to leave and close the window out or something. I don't like, yeah, it's a strange feeling, isn't it? It's something that, it's like, first you get the anger and then you slowly realize there's actually nothing to feel angry about. It's just almost part of the programming. It's like anger is the red. You're seeing red. You see anger. Red is the root chakra. That is the lowest chakra. Green is the middle chakra. That's where I think everyone really, for survival, not just being survival, for you to move out of the survival, it's good to get to the green. Whereas when we're in the red, like today is Tuesday, which is Mars Day, and I've got red on for Mars Day, and that's what I consider as like, Mars is the god of war. Tyr, which Tuesday is named after, or Chu as in Anglo-Saxon pantheon, they are the gods of war. Red is seeing red. You've got infrared, which is the laser beam which goes through things. It's just like a bit like the Mars glyph, actually. You've just got the one line coming out of the circle. So say if the circle is the sun, you'd have the one red line, which is the first one that comes out, and it burns through things, and it's the laser that does the damage. That is Mars is often seen as God's general. So if you had the sun being the god, the representation of God, which God is the Father in heaven, the provider that provides us with everything, and the sun is the sunlight, provides us with all of the food that we eat, whereas it will provide all of the seed-bearing fruits and the vegetables, which will then feed all of the animals if people are eating the animals. What you're getting is still indirectly life from the sun. So whereas in the pantheons they talk about the sun being God, of you see the New Testament is riddled with it. They're always talking about the sun, Jesus, who is the sun, and the 12 apostles, which are the disciples. They're the segments around the disc, the 12 segments around the disc, which are the 12 houses of the zodiac. And you got the planets. You'd have Mars, which is seen as the sun's general, as is the main warhead. You've got Hermes or Mercury, which is the messenger, which is the planet that goes closest to the sun or most frequently around the sun. I forget which. Yeah, it's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, so it would be closest to the sun. So you've got all of these interesting links between Mars, red, the lower chakra, and war and anger. And that's where I find that we are when we're in survival. A lot of the time, if you're in the bottom chakra, you're angry about it. You're not sure why, but you're angry and frustrated. Things don't make sense and it angers you. But then as you start to rise, things become a lot more clear. Things make a lot more sense. And as it starts making more sense, you it diminishes the anger. When you get up to the green, that's where, like in traffic lights, you've got red is stop, green is go. It's just the in between time is more of a waiting period for you to be able to reach that level. Like you have the next chakra would be the sacral chakra, which is the orange chakra, and that is representing, I think, I consider it to be pride. Others disagree. If it was one of the sins, I think it would be pride, where you've got red would be anger, which is wrath. So you've got the orange one. Um, there's a lot of links between orange and the autumn, which is like pride comes before a fall. So when it gets into the autumn months, that's the ember months. So that's like the amber color, the ember, the September, November, like, well, October is close, not quite an ember. These things I think are linked to the, like orange is linked with death. You see Kenny in South Park, the character that's always dying is orange. Like it's said to be the time of year where the sun starts dying. When you get the fire starts to go out, when you stop putting wood on the fire starts to burn ember ashes. Like it starts to, it's on the decline sort of thing. And then that is also where it's the sacral area. It's linked to sex in a way, and it's that kind of prideful level of sex that it would be relation to, not like the highest level, which is like creation and that level of the sexual energy. This is like the when you're doing it, like thinking with your penis kind of thing fits into this. It's like you want the sex because it makes you look better. You know, these people that boast about how many partners they've had or that kind of thing, like that's what keeps you in that chakra. Or the rapists of the world, they say that rape isn't about sex, it's about power. It's that level of pride, that would be the imbalance of those chakras. Like the severe imbalance of those chakras would be like those levels. They say those two levels would be Sodom and Gomorrah. So the next step up is the solar plexus, which is the yellow, which I think is related to sloth, laziness. I don't have as many links with this one, but I do find that that tends to be quite a fit. You get like diligence would be the step there, the virtue that counters the sin, and I think that that's what helps you get up to the mid level. So say the bottom would be the root chakra, that's survival chakra, that's fighting to survive, that's dog eat dog world, that's, you know, you eat what you got to eat to survive. Like in this world where everything's processed, and even the things that are not processed, fruit and veg is sprayed with pesticides. It's an act of war against the insects rather than the type of horticulture that you can have where you would plant certain things in certain places so that the insects have their place and the food is left untainted, a bit like the Amish communities manage. And they literally leave fruit out to dry in the open sun and have it all set up in such a way that the pests don't affect them. They don't need to spray it all with pesticides. It's like there's a natural way of doing things, but we're right down here in the physical world that's ruled by Saturn, and they've put their rules on us, like squaring the circle. And they're doing all of these things like spraying the pesticides, injecting the animals with different things. When they kill the animals, they drain the blood and then plump it with water that's been filled with like antibiotics or in the US, I think they have chlorine and stuff like that that goes in, but they inject it with water and stuff like that to plump it up, make it look good in the supermarket, add extra weight so that it sells for more and all sorts. And the animals are not looked after in the multi-million pound industries. Like at a farm, it's a different story. I believe there are farms out there where people look after the animals, they raise them well, they abide by the natural laws, and I've got no quarrel with them. I don't personally eat meat, but I'm not one of these people that goes around telling everyone that they should give up meat. Like, I'm a pro-choice kind of person in that respect. It's like, you do you. Like, I've eaten meat for years and loved it and had my experiences. I feel like it got to a point where I no longer needed those experiences, but I don't expect everyone to do that. I went a little bit mad at the beginning when I found out about how many toxins, how many poisons were put into things, and bad storage of meat and different things like that can cause different growths of bacteria and different parasites within them. And you can cook these out of them if you make sure that your food is cooked properly. But there is still residue left over, which can't be cooked out. There's certain things that you can't remove through cooking. And those are the things that are the toxins that we end up having a build-up of in our body that we struggle to get rid of. And I find that it's quite interesting. A lot of the people that I've met that have a predominantly processed meat diet, they end up losing their hair. They end up going very red in the face. They can't be out in the sun for too long because the sun becomes their enemy. And it's like they end up, their skin starts cooking with all of the animal fats and everything else. And it just gives them this very red, bald appearance, which is very like, it looks like the caricature that they've drawn of Satan with the bald red head and the red face, which I don't believe that Satan is this devil worshipping thing. I don't think eating meat makes you a devil worshipper, but I think that the processing that they put through meat causes your body to have many problems that make you look that way. And it's interesting the links. Like, this isn't everyone. Obviously, there's people I've seen on the carnivore diet that have managed to heal themselves from different chronic diseases, and they've done this because they've cut out processed food and they've used meat that's sourced from good farms that look after the animals. Another reason that the when the animals aren't looked after properly, they release cortisol into their system, which stops them from being able to absorb as many nutrients from the food that they eat, which then leaves less nutrition inside of them for when other people eat them. So it's just like the level of difference between multi-million pound industries and good, like, trusted family farms, complete different levels. Like, I think that the types of food that will get you to paradise is, as it says in the Genesis in the Bible, before the flood, God says, eat the seed bearing fruits. After the flood, God says, eat pretty much anything that moves, apart from the things that would have given you bad illnesses in the day through not having the proper ways to store these things and look after the animals. There's like many reasons what could have gone into it. But after the flood, there's it's survival. You're in this root chakra, you've got to eat what you've got to eat to survive. Like, people have been lost in the Rocky Mountains and eaten other people to survive. And this is just something that the body can do. God's given us the ability to do this. But it's a dangerous path if you go down that road without needing to. And I think that there's nothing wrong with eating meat, provided you're grateful for what you're eating. You're not just someone that wastes all your food, just, I can't be bothered with that, just throw it to one side, or cook way more than you need of it, kind of thing. It's like there's a balance to life. If you're respecting the animals that you're eating, then you're not gonna find that you're upsetting the spirits of the animals. Like, one day, it's something that within balance you can find good life. I don't think that you're restricted to just stuck in the Muladhara root chakra if you are a meat eater. But I do think if you're aiming to get higher than the green chakra, up to the higher points, then you've got to shed that part of you. That's something that has got to go. Now, I'm saying this as a fan of the work. I've not actually made it above the green chakras myself, or at least not knowingly. I mean, I could theorize different reasons that might reflect certain aspects of them, but I have not yet had, apart from years ago on psychedelics, I've not had the experience of the third eye. I've not had the experiences that other people describe when they've had the Kundalini experience. So it's something that I'm on my way towards. The place that I'm at is just cleansing my temple, trying to do as much as I can to clear out and undo all of the damage that I've done. One of the ways I'm doing that now is dry fasting, which is um, effectively like Jesus in the desert, going through the desert for 40 days. So I think it'd be appropriate to do a little bit of that while I'm still in the Lent period, which is reminiscent of the 40 days that Jesus was fasting in the desert, as Catholics don't, so they would have Sundays off basically because they rejoice for the Lord has risen. So it would be 40 days of actual fasting and then 6 Sundays. So for me, the last Sunday, I'm going to be relaxing the fast so I can eat other things. Me and my partner are going out to a dim sum restaurant, going to have lots of vegan options from their dim sum place, lots of vegan bao buns, crispy tofu. And that's about as much junk food as I eat these days. I find my body's able to process it quite well. But other than that, the rest of the year round, I try and eat as much home cooked food. I don't eat any processed now, unless it's trying something out for the odd occasion. It's bare minimal process. If it is, like, obviously you buy fruit juice, everything's a process, right? You juice in the fruit. But what I'm saying is, like, the processes I get are minimal. The processed food that I stay away from is the stuff with the additives, the things that are added to it that you read on the packet and you can't even pronounce the word in your head, but you think your body is going to be able to digest it and recognize it. You can't recognize the word. How's your body going to recognize the chemical? Especially as some of the flavorings, flavored like fruit, your body thinks that it's getting fruit, so it prepares to digest fruit, but then it can't because it's not fruit. It's just some kind of cornstarch syrup or something. Like, yeah, it's really difficult. So I've been giving my body as much of a fighting chance as I can, just eating the foods that will be easiest to digest, going on periods of fasting to give my body a chance to get rid of anything that was just swept under the carpet, anything that was just hidden away in a drawer somewhere until a later date. It's just all be taken out now and cleaned up or gotten rid of. And that, it's been a very good ride. Like, I've managed to turn my life around. A few years back, I was alcoholic. I was doing hard drugs, hard man-made drugs, as well as lots of psychedelics. Now it's been a couple of years since I've even done psychedelics, and I'm not against them. I just think that there is a much more natural way of getting into those states. I fully believe it. I haven't experienced it yet, but I'm still on the cleansing my temple part. I believe that once I've managed to completely clean out my temple and reached a permanent mid level of living on the medium middle chakra, I'll be able to start making advances to the next stages. And when I get to those levels, I think that I'll have the eye switched on, what I've read about in many texts, and be one of the 144,000 that will experience the heavenly side of the psychedelic trip without the hellish side. I won't have the duality of the trip anymore. Whereas other times where I've taken mushrooms and acid and mescaline and 2C, MIT, many different variations of letters and numbers. And I was taking things that weren't even illegal because they hadn't been classified by the police yet to even put a ban on them. And it was all from a trusted source, but at the end of the day, it's just as risky as anything else that you put into your body. It's something that I wouldn't recommend to anyone. Like, I've had great experiences on them. I'm not going to lie about that, but I do think that you can get these things without the negative side. Like, to have an ayahuasca experience or something once in your life is one thing, but to do things recreationally like every week, that's more of an abuse level. And I pushed it to the point where I was starting to get really the message that kept coming very clear was things being fused perfectly, half heaven, half hell. Like everyone's face looked half blue and half red. I was seeing all of the polarity. I was seeing all of the good and the bad, all of the beauty and the ugly. And I couldn't understand why, if I was able to see anything that I wanted to see, why I wasn't just able to see all of the good without all of the bad. But that's because I'm living in the world of duality. The red chakra is representative of Tuesday, which is the second day of the week. Tuesday or Mahdi, Mars, which is the fighting, the conflict, the tale of two sides. You've always got two sides in a war. That's the. I think the light's gone on this a little bit. Not to worry if you can still hear me. But yeah, it's something that I think is quite common with. I realize it's the light that's gone out outside. Give us 1 sec. I'm just going to switch the light on in here, see if that changes things. Hey everyone, is that better? Oh yeah, you got the Tuesday is about conflict, and that's ruled by the gods of war. You often get elections that happen on a Tuesday. The elections are often the two opposing sides. You get red versus blue. That's the two polar sides of a magnet. So you've got the North Pole and South Pole. One of them's red, one of them's blue. You've got in America, where the elections are always held on a Tuesday, is the Republicans versus the Democrats, the red versus the blue. A lot of people, they think that like you're maybe going to get one of the underdogs win an election one year, but I think the closest we've had in the UK was a coalition between the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives, uh, where the Conservatives were basically in charge anyway, so it didn't really make any blind bit of difference. Yeah, it's just always a tale of two sides. You've got the duality there. If you're stuck in the world of duality, that means you're in the root chakra. There's the highest point is singularity, I believe. That's when they say, if thine eye be single, then thy whole body fills with light. If you manage to turn on your third eye, then the crown chakra opens and all of the light enters into your body. The crown chakra, I believe, you get the sun has a corona, but the sun is supposed to be linked to the solar plexus in traditional times. Another thing with the crown, you'd get Kronos, who is Saturn, which has a bit of a link as Saturn is linked to the third eye. So Kronos being the crown and Kronos being Saturn, as soon as thine eye be single, thy whole body fills with light. They both seem to come along together. But you've got the 7 planets with the 7 um, chakras. They seem to be linked. So you'd have Mars is linked with the root chakra, then Venus is linked with the throat chakra, Jupiter is linked with the heart chakra, um, the sun with the solar plexus. Mercury, I believe, would be linked with the. Actually, maybe it's the moon. If it was the moon linked with the sacral chakra, as you get lunatics, you get loonies. That seems to fit more. Mercury with the throat, maybe. Although I think Venus is the throat. Venus also has the bird that is linked to Venus that I forget the name of now, is known to have a beautiful singing voice. Venus rules Taurus, which Taurus rules the neck and the throat. Um, so yeah, I think that Venus is more linked there, but this is just my understandings through the things that I've read from other places. Everyone seems to give different answers. Well, yeah, for the bits that I have linked, I've linked the 7 sins with the 7 chakras. I believe that the 7 virtues that oppose the 7 sins help focus on the um, mental understanding that will help you bring balance to the chakras so that the energy will be able to pass through them. And the first one, I think, is anger, which is what you would have with the root chakra, which is also linked to food, as I think that lots of food can bring you down to the root chakra, especially processed food, and that tends to make you quite angry or quite salty. A lot of this food is high in salt, and not the good kind of salt, not the Himalayan salt, not the Celtic salts or Celtic salts. These would be like NaCl, that's natrium or sodium chloride, which is chloride is like a bleach kind of thing. You don't really want too much of that in your body. Whereas the other salt, I've had large amounts of Himalayan salt in my body, and it's not caused any real problems. I do think that there is a limit. Like you will get to a point where too much salt is too much salt, regardless of what you're taking in. But I do have like experience that having a large amount of it on food has been less damaging than it was with the other salts. They reckon the table salt that you get is so highly processed that things go into it like sand, glass, and other things that get ground down that just get bleached white and you wouldn't know any different, but it causes tears in your arteries. And when you get the, what do you call it? Cholesterol. People get a cholesterol build up in their arteries. That's actually trying to hold your veins together and arteries together so that you manage to heal them from the inside rather than tear them open even further. And what they prescribe in Western medicine is something to lower your cholesterol, which is just in a way leading you to more problems. But I do fully believe that with Western medicine, it's all about treating the symptoms rather than the cause of the problem. What they tend to do is shoot the messenger. They like to, if you have pain, they give painkillers rather than looking for the source of the pain. Whereas I try and go for the holistic approach. If I feel pain, I try not to take any painkillers because the pain is a good teacher. It helps you to learn what's good and what's bad. And if there's something in me that's bad, I want my body to be able to recognize that through the pain and go find the source of the problem and deal with it rather than just bury the pain under lots of painkiller. And yeah, like don't get me wrong, I'll still be using cannabis when I need to for medical reasons because can't spell healthcare without THC, right? But when it comes down to smoking it every day, I don't think I'll be smoking it every day anymore. Because I don't generally feel in pain in my life anymore. I don't feel so stuck in my lower chakras that cannabis makes me feel better as such. Like I don't need that crutch anymore. Years ago, I did. Now I've gotten to the point. I noticed when I was in the middle of some juice fasts, having nothing but fruit juice, you end up, especially if it's squeezed fruit juice that you squeeze in a juicer at home. I was flying high on fruit sugars, and I felt such a level of clarity in the mind, such a level of happiness that if I smoked anything, it relaxed my muscles and it kind of made me tired, but I didn't feel high at all. And it's at times like that that I've wondered if I have felt so much higher than the root chakra, sorry, so much higher than the mid chakra that it was just pulling me back down to mid. Like they call it the gateway drug. Cannabis is referred to as green. The green chakra is where cannabis would help get you to, meaning that if you're stuck in the lower chakras, it will get you high. Whereas if you're in the higher chakras, all it's going to do is bring you down. It's about using it for its purpose rather than just abusing it because, like a mouse in an experiment trying drugs. If I press this button, I get the good stuff. It's like there's a deeper understanding than that. Like this is plant medicine, basically. Like a lot of the medicine that you get in Western medicine, it's derived from different plants. But then the general idea is if it's alternative medicine that works, they call it medicine. Well, I don't believe that's quite the case. It's like if it's alternative medicine that works, it has worked for years. And the reason that they process it and package it down is so that they can put additives with it. So it will heal you, but it will also cost you. So it's like a trick and a treat at the same time. So that's what you get. It's things that will heal one thing and then it gives you side effects, and then they give you more tablets for the side effects, and then that tablet gives you more side effects. And I don't think that that's the way forward. I think that the holistic way of doing it is the way. And there's, like, don't get me wrong, not absolutely every piece of medicine gives side effects, but everything that I've researched into has shown me this same idea back, that what the medical industry is, they're drug pushers. They are medicine sells. It's something that sells big time. And the amount of money that these people make is so astronomical that you look at what gangs of thugs would do to protect much smaller amounts of money, and they're willing to kill for it. They're willing to do heinous acts and cause people extreme suffering. Well, that's kind of these elites that are in power, these elites. They're into the charge, they're into the power. The power comes from the charge. Like you've got magnetism and the two poles of the magnetism where they keep everyone divided because it helps charge them with this power, because they are the puppet masters that control the left and the right. Like in Britain right now, we've got a horrible Labour government that's in, but it wouldn't be any better with the Conservative government. They, in their campaigns, even looked like they were both trying to lose this year because they knew what had to happen. We're Year of the Snake right now. That's the sixth animal in the Chinese zodiac. That's the year when a lot of things are going to be happening that people are not going to like. I've been dreading this year for a little while. But there's no reason to dread it, really. If you're on the right side of your health, it's a lot easier to get through. Finding that things are going to be difficult for people with money. The inflation's at an all-time high. People are finding money isn't going as far anymore. I've found that I'm not spending money on as much anymore. So it's a lot easier for me to maintain having less money or having money go less far. And it feels like I'm managing to find a balance a lot easier, which I was dreading a lot. Things could get worse. I'd recommend for everyone, just as good practice, to have like a month's worth of food stored up in tins and stuff like that around your house. Have bottled water stored up, just because it's possible that we may end up with really dark times coming. It will be a little difficult to get through. And if you remember how people reacted with the toilet roll shortage, imagine if there's a supply chain shortage. Like there's things going on in Birmingham at the moment where there's loads of rubbish piling everywhere because of the binmen being on strike. Like there's easily nightmare situations like this can happen within a few days, and suddenly the supply chain is cut short. Like look at the lockdown that we had. It only took a few days and then everything was locked down. No one could go leave in their house anymore. With or without vaccine, it was just you couldn't leave the house. And yeah, like I believe in the natural route. I find that anything that medicine can do for you, plants can do for you if you have the right knowledge, which they do their best to make sure this knowledge is not taught in schools. The education system is given a lot of funding from people that are linked with the elites, the elites, the ones who do everything in the year based on what's happening in the stars. So whatever's going on as above is what happens so below. And they want to stay in power, which is the charge that they get, which is an election. You can hear the word electric in there. The two different poles, polar sides of the magnet. That's where electricity comes from. You've got electricity can be used to create magnets when you manage to charge everything, so you've got half of the electrons going to this side and half going to this side. Well, that's what happens with the elections. If you notice, in 2016, it elevated to a major level where everyone was either for or against Trump. Like, not everyone liked Hillary, but this Trump character comes along and it's completely divided people, because some people really love the guy, some people really hate the guy. There wasn't many people in between that were like, yeah, he's. It was one or the other. And these elites, they own the media, they own all of the politicians. All of the politicians have Secret Service names in America. They've got uh, Donald Trump was the mogul. Um, ah, Struggling to remember them now. There was old dog, I think, was George Herbert Walker Bush, GHW Bush. Um, the Renegade, I think, was Obama's. They all have these really cool sounding names for Secret Service names because they all work for the Secret Service. And the Secret Service are these elites that run the world. Their puppet show is the which side are you going for, the left puppet or the right puppet? How about we're going to cause a bigger divide now? Are you going for the far left puppet or the far right puppet? And that's what you got to choose from. Like, they try and take away the middle ground. A lot of people are noticing that people are getting richer and poorer these days. It's like they're taking away the middle class. So you've got higher middle class and lower working class seems to be left. So the working class are earning less than they've ever earned before. The middle class that have managed to stay afloat have gotten to the higher end of middle class. They seem to be removing the middle. As if they remove the middle ground, more polarity, more charge for them. That leaves them in charge, as they are the rulers that have the power, which is the electric current, which is your currency. That's the thing that we use as money. So money is a currency, whereas it's just trading energy. You're basically trading your energy for that money in the form of work, and then trading that money for your food, which is a form of energy. So these are all different things. Like, we could cultivate our own energy from the land. Like, if we were to go out and farm, if we have some of us who have gardens, who are lucky enough to have gardens, are able to farm. I'm not lucky enough to have a garden. I can't plant things in the garden outside without causing a problem where the council could come along. This would be at my partner's place if I tried to do it there, or at my mum's place if I tried to do it there, would cause problems with the council or the um, building association or whatever that monitors these things, would not be able to plant our own food. I do have a friend who started up growing his own food in an allotment. I've been looking into renting an allotment out and growing my own food there. It would require a little bit of work. I didn't manage to get around to it this in time for the planting this year, but I might do it towards the later part of the year before the weather gets really hot. I might see if I can grow some strawberries and tomatoes, things like that. Got my friend Sam from Imagine Freely Twin Flames. He has a beautiful garden. He grows a lot of his own veg. He's very good at it. I've tasted the veg. It's very delicious what comes out. It's very natural and organic. It's better than what you can buy in the shops. It's not been sprayed with anything. And I think that energy goes a lot further. The world that we're kept in, where they want to remain in charge, they've kept a lot of secrets from us. Some of you that have looked into Nikola Tesla will know that there are methods that you can use to cultivate free energy from the land. This is also, I think, what they theorized that pyramids were used for, as the shape of the pyramids was supposedly a way of harnessing energy. If you notice the shape of a lot of houses that you get, it's cube shaped, it's square shaped, which won't harness energy in the same ways. A lot of people that have gotten into geomancy, which they live in domed houses because of the way that the energy would collect in the dome or the bubble. Even, I think the Shire in Lord of the Rings might have been a full dome. house. I think it was from memory, but I'd have to check. Yeah, this world that tries to keep you in the lower chakras all the time. It's about the squaring of the circle. We are free. We are that spherical energy that came from the womb, which is spherical. We come from eggs, which are spherical. It's like the production, our heads are like a spheroid shape. And to try and put us in boxes all the time, it's all about your identification, isn't it? They will, oh, tick this box. So whenever you fill out a form, the amount of boxes that ask for what nationality you are, what ethnicity, what sexuality, what gender, what everything, just what box do you fit in? They want you to categorize yourself and put yourself in boxes. Like Christianity has the cross, which Jesus was placed on, which the cross, the lowercase t, actually looks like a cube when you open it up and lay out the pieces in a net form. And it's interesting, the net as well is when you reverse the letters, it spells out 10, which is often linked to Saturn. Say 10. Saturn with the crosses. The Xbox is probably one of the most satanic games consoles that you can get. But then I own an Xbox. It's what we watch things on. It's like, not that I'm saying to demonize these things. It's just recognize that the symbolism is always there. When it comes to simulations, there's always some kind of reference to Saturn. Even the dream world, uh, well, you've got the Dreamcast, another console. The dreams, they say, are cast from your third eye, the optic thalamus, which is where they say that there's DMT crystals just inside the third eye. There was someone that went in with a camera one time and found these crystals, which were, um, if you put them under pressure, they have something called piezochromatism, which is where you get light coming out of them. If you were to get DMT and hit it with a hammer, DMT is dimethyltryptamine, which is the thing that exists inside. It's the thing that people take when they take acid, which makes them trip. It's what gives you the ayahuasca experience. And if you were to hit it with a hammer, it sparks out different colors of light. And this is the piezochromatism effect. And they say that with the correct conditioning inside, you're able to have these effects, like when you go to sleep and dream. All of these things that you see in the dreams, these are the things that they come from the third eye chakra. They come from Saturn. He is the one that causes the simulation yet again. And I think that I've experienced it more on this fast from not having cannabis as well. The dreams I've been having have just been phenomenal. It's like I'm dealing with so many past traumas or things that have not been dealt with, and making sense of them so that they're now all starting to appear in different symbolism. Like, can't think of really a good example that would even make sense out of what I've been seeing, but a lot of it's included people from my past, people that I've lived with, people that have been very close friends, like different concepts, even down to one where I was playing a Yu-Gi-Oh card game that was made famous by a Japanese anime in the bathtub with three of my closest friends from my past. We know each other as the original, we're the original trio, even though there's four of us. So yeah, it's quite funny, especially there. That's squaring the triangle more than squaring the circle. But if you say circle of friends and there's four of us, I guess it's a squared circle. But more what I was interested in, we're playing this game in the bath and these cards, so it's just like no protectors on them, just placed upside down in the water. And I remember one of the thoughts I had while playing against these guys, I see one of them play a really good move, and it caused him to gain 8,000 life points or something. And it suddenly dawned on me that this game was going to be a lot harder now because we're all adults and we all know deeper levels of the rules. I think what the game represents to me is the symbolism and the way that you can use certain things in the game in order to get an advantage over others in the game. And I think that was reflective of some of the thoughts that I was having of the path that I'd chosen and how it relates to other people and what they're doing in life. Because not everyone needs to take a path of fasting and eating just fruits to live a good life. And other people that I know have managed to live good lives, and they've managed to reach levels that are different to the level that I'm on. Theirs are more physical rewards, but they've still put the work in and they've got out what they put in. I'm putting work in into a different place and I'm getting out different things from that. And I think that this was partially to do with my brain trying to understand things that I was doing years ago compared to things that I am doing now. There's been all sorts. There's been dreams where I've gone to an old friend's house where I had the keys to his place, but he didn't live there anymore, and his neighbors were hanging out at his place because they also had the keys, and there was like a big barbecue going on where the party was stretching across both houses. And yeah, I turned up there, and there was people there that were like I'd gone in to use the toilet or something, and I saw people there that were having this party, and I got a bit taken back. I explained that I was just there to use the toilet. They started laughing. They said it wasn't a problem, and then when I came back from the toilet, there was many more people there. I needed to get to the station, and as I was like making my excuses to leave, one of the guys there said that he could offer me a lift. As I went outside, there was a car there that was like not just two people sitting side by side and two people sitting in the back. It was more like 4x4. There's people sitting in the middle. The car was extra wide, and it was like four people. There was about 16 people sitting in the car, and no space for me. And I was a bit confused. And none of these people were the people that I'd seen inside. And they kind of gave me a dirty look and then drove off. And then I saw the car behind, which was a regular, like, there was three people in it, space for four, and they were telling me, "Come on, get in." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I wandered off without getting into the car. So bizarre dreams, absolutely mental. But I've come out of it remembering so much more of them. I think that as my body starts dealing with more things and releasing more things, getting over different traumas of the past, I'll get to a different level with the dreams where different things will be shown to me on a much higher plane. I've had a few dreams where I've realized I was dreaming within the dream, but instead of it becoming a lucid dream where I was able to have control over it, I discovered that it was a dream and then woke up. Or one dream, I really wasn't having a good dream and realized it was a dream and did my best to open my eyes, like force my eyes open. And I realized there I was sitting with my partner, like stroking her hair, and I was just seriously like had only dozed off for like half an hour or something like that. So yeah, the projection from the third eye, I believe, is linked to Saturn. That's from the sixth chakra. Everything six is related to the physical world. Like our flesh is made of carbon. Carbon is the sixth element on the periodic table. And carbon 12 has six protons, six neutrons, six electrons. That's 666. This entire physical world that we're in, I believe, is made as Saturn's world. And it's the world where we learn basically about good and evil. And they say that the tree of life is your nervous system, which is what allows you to feel pleasure and pain. If you look at it inside the body, the way that the veins and the nerves, can't think of the right word for it, but the branches that come off of it in the diagram are almost representing the tree, where you get the roots and the branches. And we're here in the world of duality on the root chakra of survival so that we can learn, because pain is a good teacher, pleasure is also a good teacher. Giving rewards and giving punishments tends to be a good way of teaching people things. And it's no different for our evolution back up to be the prodigal son that returns, the one that comes down here and squanders all of our wealth on prostitutes and alcohol and drugs, and then we make this realization, or the character, the prodigal son in the Bible, made the realization at one point that all this was doing was wasting everything that he had, and then decided to go back to his father just to be a servant. And then, upon making it to his father's paradise, his dad was overjoyed. And there was the other brother that had stayed there the whole time and hadn't gone off and squandered away his fortune. And he was wondering, well, why are you so happy? He was so happy that he sacrificed the fatted calf. Let's have a feast. And he's saying, well, why are you celebrating like this? And he's saying, like, look, you don't understand. He was lost, but now he is found. And that's the idea, that we get up there, the sacrificing of the fatted calf. It's the lower mind, the cerebellum, which is representative of the uh, Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Venus is representative of the body. So you've got like the balance between Mars and Venus, the male and feminine, the masculine, feminine energy. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Aries is the first zodiac sign ruled by Mars. The second one, Taurus, is ruled by Venus. The first and second letter of the Hebrew alphabet would relate to these two. So you've got the Aleph, which is the master provider, which would be the father, Abraham. Like, Abe means father in Hebrew. Um, Beth is like the housing. So you've got the, how can I explain this without making it too complicated? So the A represents the initial character. So the different characters that would appear in the alphabet, the alphabet. Uh, you have the alpha, that represents the unique characters, like the prime numbers, the ones that have their unique properties. Then you have Beth, which is the house of them. Beth or Beit even means house in Hebrew, and the house is a form of body. So you get the initial being, and then you get the body for the being. So the body is represented by the calf, which is a young bull, which is the Taurus. So that is you got the cerebrum and the cerebellum. So you got the higher mind and the lower mind. And this is not to say like people of Taurus are with a lower mind or anything. I haven't got a higher mind and I'm in Aries, but we tend to be stuck in our heads a lot. That's one of the things. I'm aiming to get to a higher mind. That's a goal. It's not somewhere I think I am. The name Shinjitsu Master, I don't feel like I am the master yet. It's just the journey to get there, to be the master of reality, to be the master of truth. So with the Aries and the Taurus balance, it fits for, to be in the higher mind, you've got to sacrifice the lower mind. The lower mind is the connecting to your body. It's connecting to the pleasure pain receptors that you get, but it's also connected to the desires that you have. And the idea is to shut off from the worldly desires. Like, one of the things that fasting gets you is you lose your attachment to the physical desires of the world, the carnal desires, the desires of the flesh. So it's, without that, you're able to rise. Aries is an anagram of arise, and the cerebrum has ram in it, which is Aries the ram. Cerebellum has bull in it, which is Taurus the bull. So it's about sacrifice. Just went off live there for a sec. But yeah, it's about sacrificing the lower mind. So if you're able to sacrifice the lower mind, you're able to move more into the higher mind. And that's where I'm aiming to go. And I think that that's what the prodigal son returning is all about. You get back into the higher mind, and your father's so happy. Your father, Abraham, the father Ram, the cerebrum, is so happy that you're able to remove all of the ties to the lower mind. You sacrifice the fatted calf, and you achieve paradise. Now, that would be a wonderful experience if that turns out to be true. Obviously, all of these things, they're part of ancient wisdom in books, but it's all about faith, isn't it? None of this has got any solid proof. It's just about whether or not you want to take the journey for yourself, as to whether or not you're going to find out. You're not going to learn from me. I talk about the things that are out there already in discussion, and I talk about my own personal journey in it. But even if I came out to you with a video and said, "Oh yes, it's brilliant, I made it," and I come back to tell you all I'm a prophet now, it's like, no, I'm a person. Even if I manage to make it, there's no proof of this. I've got no proof that I can show anyone. It's all down to, if you're watching me right now, it's a reflection of something going on the inside of you. And it's something that, if it resonates with you, then it might spark a thought for something in your life, for part of your journey. But that's the extent of it. Like, I'm not here as a messiah. I'm not here as a leader. I'm not the messiah. I'm a very naughty boy, or I have been. Trying to do a lot better with my life, but I'm still on a journey. Like, this is a place that I'm creating on YouTube so that we have a place to discuss these kind of things. People are welcome to come hang out, listen for a while, or even get involved in the chat. There's a lot of great people that are in the chat. There's people that have been watching my channel for since the beginning, even, and people that before that were watching my friend's channel, who used to talk about a lot of similar things. He doesn't do his channel anymore, but I do hope that one day I'll convince him to come back, because he discussed a lot of brilliant topics that I think were helping people. And I think that if he decides to start doing streams again, then we can do some together. I'll be able to introduce you to him. So yeah, this is the journey. It's about being able to get back to a certain place, which is returning to from whence we came. We start off up here in the 9, which is divine. We drop down to the 6, which is the physical world, and the 6 and the 9 go together to make the yin yang. It's like the yin yang circle, the perfect balance, the 69. That's actually the symbol for Cancer, which is the balance of the duality, which is opposing of Capricorn, which is the capricious one that goes his own way, but often very divisive in terms of like especially when it comes to the Aries types. Like, the Aries is sits at number 9 on the wheel, on the zodiac clock, and the Capricorn sits at number 6. And I find that the Aries and Capricorn, they tend to always be battling for number 1 spot. The Aries often ruled by Mars, very like headbutty people. We're buttheads, basically, yeah. And that's where I've spent a lot of my life, in the root chakra, as an Aries, as this butthead. So trying to do better with my life, but I tend to find that the balance in the energies between the sheep and the goat, the Aries and the Capricorn, it's always battling for number 1 spot. You have the start of the year is 1st of January, which happens in Capricorn. The start of the astrological year is 21st of March, which is in Aries. So that's the winter solstice, spring equinox battle. You've got Aries is the first of the 12 zodiac signs. Capricorn is the 10th. 1 plus 0 is 1 in numerology. So they're 1 and 1 again, battling for the number 1 spot. So it's interesting that people that I've met that are Capricorns, often we would take opposing sides of an argument. Like me and my Capricorn buddy having an argument about Brexit years ago. We were both on opposite ends. And I was like initially a person that wanted us to remain, because I didn't think that we'd be able to leave gracefully. But upon hearing about Ted Heath being a paedophile, and he was the one that signed the agreement, that called into question whether or not it was an agreement in our best interest, or an agreement in theirs. Obviously, we were very dependent on it, and it caused a lot of disruption. But yeah, I changed my mind on that. The argument me and him were, my Capricorn buddy, were having was not about which side you were on. It was about whether or not there should be a second referendum. And I believe that even though I changed my mind and had been a Remainer to begin with, that I didn't think that there should be a second vote, because when the people have voted on something, that is the people's vote. You can't just redo it until you get the right results or the results that you want. It doesn't work that way. You gave the people the opportunity to vote. If they haven't been educated as to this or that, then that's your problem. You should have made the information more readily available before this really important vote. The fact that the vote happened and then people were calling for change, I didn't think was right. He thought that if people changed their mind, they should have a chance to vote. But that's just a personal experience with the Capricorn and Aries balance. There was another boss that I had at a job where I was fencing. Worked with him for a little while. He was someone that believed in time structure, so he'd get really upset if we stayed on job longer than when our workday was supposed to finish. Whereas I believed that you needed to do a good job for people. I was working with another Aries guy. We were both very hard workers. We'd both do a lot of work. This Capricorn guy used to promise a lot of things that then he would just turn up and say isn't happening and give them whatever reasons for it and still walk away with as much money as he could out of them. It was a bit of a corrupt business in that respect. But we were there trying to do as good a job as possible, and we didn't mind staying late to get it finished. And us staying late used to upset him because it upsets time structure. And Capricorns tend to be ruled by Saturn. They're very time conscious. They're very structure based, and we were messing with his structure in that sense. So it caused a lot of arguments in that way. Also, the things that me and the other guy would do on job was we were both Aries. We would like to start jobs and then go start another job before finishing the job we'd already started, which was often a common thing for Aries. Love starting things, being the start of the wheel. Not so great on sticking with the thing and following it all the way through. But I used to always do my best to try and make sure that customers were given exactly what they'd been promised. So I think that's another side of Aries. We're very much providers. We love providing things. It's during the time of year, the Aries symbol, the ram's horns also represent the first sprigs of grass that come into being. We're like, we like to provide things. The Abe Ram is the father ram, the provider. Uh, you see in the Bible, you got Abraham and his wife Sarah, and then you get the cerebrum, which is your Sarah Abram, which you have Abraham and Sarah. Sarah gave birth to, they had a child called Isaac, and Isaac in Hebrew means happiness or laughter, which your cerebrum is what produces laughter. It's something that we're able to do with our evolved brains that set us apart from the animals. Like, I do believe that animals experience things that are close to laughter, but other than hyenas with the noise they make when they eat, you don't tend to see animals laughing so much. It's a very human trait. It's part of having the higher mind, which is a great power and a great responsibility. And I think with this higher mind, we've definitely got to look out for our animal buddies. I'm not saying that you should all become vegans like I did, but definitely source your meat from trusted farms. Source your meat from places where it's not just a multi-million pound factory that doesn't care two squats about what the animals go through. As it'll be better for your health in the long run. It'd be better for everyone's well-being. Like, I do think that that's actions from the higher mind. From the lower mind, you go, I don't care where it comes from. Give it here. I'll have a bite. Like, whatever. I've been that way. I've lived that life. I used to get a vegetarian breakfast at the calf and add bacon to it. I used to just not like sausages, and they always try and bung sausages on your plate because it's cheap. But yeah, I used to get that as my life. I was even very much into the thought that we are all one, because I'd taken many psychedelics, and that was generally the belief that I'd fallen into through things that I'd seen. I do still believe that we all come from the one now. Believe that there's the higher one above, which is our higher self, or God, or goodwill, or nature. Like, however you'd want to perceive this, in many different pantheons, there is only one, and we are all forms of it that have come from it, that are separated from it. So we are lesser beings than the one, but we will return to the one eventually, and that is it. Interestingly, the number one comes up with the water. Hydrogen is the first element on the periodic table, and hydrogen creates all life. So hydrogen is another type of energy. It creates all of the water that's in the sea. The current sea is the trade of energy, and water has current, and it helps to pass on electricity. So I think that water is linked with Mercury as well, the messenger, and you get Mercury, the messenger. Mercury is Wednesday, which is Woden's day, which is Odin's day. Odin means one in Russian. Then you've got in Japanese, it would be Suiyobi, which is water day, and Mercury is the liquid metal. So I think there's a lot of links to Mercury and water, which is another part of the knowledge that I think has been placed in folklore and syncretized into different stories that would be told to the children. That's what I think all of the scriptures are as well. They're basically a way of putting all of the ancient knowledge into stories to tell the kids. And then one day when the kids are old enough, you tell them how to interpret the book so that they get all of the hidden knowledge. But in the hands of the churches, they try and withhold this information, because church comes from Circe, which is a circle, which is the circus. And this is the squared circle, which is linking back to the things like the wrestling ring, where they try and keep you focused more on people fighting. It's all about keeping you in the war, this side versus this side. All of the fight, and I'm not against this. I watch sumo wrestling. I watch wrestling. I'm watching and looking forward to watching WrestleMania with my partner this Easter weekend. But it's something that I'll be looking at from a different perspective than she's looking at. I'll be watching it mainly for different things to do with the symbology. I'll be trying to watch the pre-show as well to see anything in the symbology there, as well as be entertained by the guys that put on very good acts when they're doing the wrestling. It's an amazing show that they put on, and can be very entertaining. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not saying don't see these things as entertainment still, but just be aware of what you're looking at. This is things that are put into place because it's a way of controlling information and controlling people, and it's a way of keeping people in the lower mind. It's not wrong to be in the lower mind, but spending all of your time there stops you from achieving the higher states, which I think is important if you're looking for that kind of life, that you have a balance, everything in moderation. But the the links between wrestling are so in depth, linked to the stars and the like the rock. The Taurus is known as the Rock of Ages, and the rock has a Brahma bull tattoo, and he his birthday is the 2nd of May, I think, which is in Taurus. Like they've managed to give that character, and that was the identity he took on, the persona he took on before he got big. He was Rocky Maivia before that, which was like honoring his dad in a way, and being a good guy that didn't get him anywhere. Then he came back as like the bull, this big bully. He had a match with Cactus Jack, which helped put him over, where he was beating him in the head with a steel chair for like many times in an I Quit match when he was handcuffed, and probably caused him untold amounts of damage. Like the wrestlers that succeed, they often make sacrifices in this ring. The sacrifices that happen in the ring are for their success. The amount of sacrifice they make is like correlation between that and their success. Any wrestlers that I've seen getting booed, like Edge and Lita had a storyline where they were getting booed relentlessly because they'd been caught cheating or having an affair behind another guy's back, and they were basically heel characters until they were the bad guys until they had a match against Cactus Jack again, who helped get them over because Edge managed to spear, like, put him through a table that had been set on fire, and there was loads of blood. There's loads of blood in these matches. There's things that they pull out barbed wire and objects wrapped in barbed wire, and it's about how much blood is spilled in the ring, how much physical blood you're willing to put into the ring, because it's the ring of Saturn, the squared circle. It's an alchemy thing. It's an alchemy base. The more they bleed in the ring, the more they're loved by the crowd. And this kind of thing, it shows if you look at the periods of time where the WWE decided to go PG, they took all the blood out. People were not allowed to use blading techniques or anything to cause blood to come out. There was less matches that people bled in unless it was like accident or accidentally on purpose. They did their best to keep it PG, and a lot less people watched it. It went down in popularity. A lot more children got into it, but they decided in recent years, and before they came back to Netflix or started showing on Netflix, they started doing a lot more bloody matches, a lot more hardcore matches, a lot more, not quite as extreme as they have in Japan, where they have the death matches. But this is, you may have seen the film Kickboxer, where they wrapped their hands in these like cloth gloves, dipped it in honey or something sticky, and then dipped it in broken glass and started fighting each other like that. Well, this is a thing that happens. It's known as a Taipei death match. No idea why it's actually named after the capital of Taiwan, but it's something that is known now in the Japanese deathmatch world as doing it the old ways. And it's an old style deathmatch. The stuff that they do that they've done since then. I mean, in 1992, they were doing things where they'd be setting each other on fire and as much blood as they could get into the ring, and they had a lot of success worldwide through that. I think that the WWE people like Cactus Jack took that and started using it on the matches because he used to perform in them. He'd been in some of the death matches over there, and he was doing the same thing with the WWE or the WWF as it was back then, which is another 666 relation, as the F is the sixth letter of the English alphabet, and the W comes from the Vav, which is the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So it's a 666. It's a homage to Satan, not Saturn. Saturn, not Satan. But Saturn is called Satan as Saturn. Satan means the adversary or the opposer. So yeah, blood sacrifice in the middle of the ring. It does seem to have a bit of a satanic vibe to it, but providing you're not doing these things, I mean, giving the thing your energy in a way is giving your energy to it. And I think that this is something that I'll be sacrificing myself when I move to higher levels in the chakra system. But for now, while I'm at the medium levels in between, I'm going to be doing my best to learn as much as I can, see how many more links I can find between uh, the wrestling entertainment and um, alchemy and links to Saturn, basically. And that, I think I'm looking forward to this WrestleMania, as it seems like it's going to be one of those. They did something where they got John Cena, who's been a good guy or a face for 25 years or something, to suddenly be a bad guy, a heel. So that as well, the face and the heel, you're either a baby face or you're a heel. They're the two opposing ends of the body. So the face is the head, which represents the heavens, the HEA from head, HEAVEN. Then you've got the heel, hell. So you've got the higher and the lower. So it's interesting to see how they do this balance of the duality. Jewel, they have a jewel in the ring. It's generally, whether it's um, UFC or a WWE. It's whether it's staged or whether it's supposedly real, or like in boxing rings or something like that, there's always a certain level of sacrifice that these people are making. It's like a blood sacrifice often, but at very least they're sacrificing their bodies. A lot of the people that haven't gone heavily into the blood, they're still throwing their bodies around and dealing with long-term health issues afterwards. And this is another thing that I think is a form of sacrifice. And I think that the people that do it, they get their rewards in the physical world. They get made into superstars, and they get a lot of renown. A lot of people will idolize them and at least respect them and think that they're doing amazing things, like I've done through most of my life. In fact, Cactus Jack was my favorite wrestler. And I even had the nickname in school, Cactus Jack, after going in and doing some strange things, being influenced by Jackass and Dirty Sanchez and imitating what I saw on those shows. I was often doing things like I pierced my knees before, putting safety pins through my knees. Yeah, being safe, right? I've still got black circles on my knees where I done this. So do not try that at home. This is like 20 odd years later, and I've still got the marks to show that I did a stupid thing. Like, and that was even after sterilizing the needle with fire and alcohol. So yeah, I left them in a bit long. The metal discolored my knees, the little patches of skin where I'd poked it through. Wasn't a good idea, but I used to do things like that when I was at school, and other forms of self-harm, like cutting a pentagram into the back of my hand and a cross into the back of the other one. I thought it was being edgy, but yeah, I was just being a typical teenager looking for attention, basically. And I didn't mind sacrificing my body to do that because all of my heroes did it. All of the people in Dirty Sanchez and Jackass did it. Cactus Jack did it. All of the other wrestlers were doing it. It was like the cool thing to do, to sacrifice yourself for other people's enjoyment. And that's what I think we do when we're drinking heavily as well. You get into a drunk state and you say and do stupid things, and other people can laugh at it and enjoy it. And like drinking in moderation, getting tipsy is different. But I mean, drinking the way me and my buddies used to drink back in the day. We'd drink till we got plastered. We'd drink till we were out there shouting stupid things, singing silly things. Like, it's all about what you sacrifice. And it's the more that you sacrifice, the more everyone else enjoys it, the more everyone else calls you a legend. A legend, 6-letter word. So yeah, it's very interesting, the amount of links between these things. Like, I've always found that you get the satanic world when you live in the physical world. It's about how much you're willing to sacrifice as to how much you'll get back. And that happens even in other things. There's like the Kaaba, the cube in Mecca, that people will go on a pilgrimage to and Hajj, and go around the cube like the rings around Saturn. And the people that are willing to make this sacrifice, because it costs a lot of money to go there, and it costs a lot of time and effort and a lot of walking and a lot of harsh conditions. So it's a lot of sacrifice to do that. And the people that do it, I do believe that they get physical rewards from that. I know that the Kaaba was initially a place that was filled with idols that people used to worship as well, but that was all removed when it became a thing of Islam. And it seems like just the cube itself and the people walking around it yield similar results. Like, I don't really believe in idol worship myself. I don't believe that that is idol worship in a way. It's more doing things in the physical world to yield physical results, which could be seen as Saturn worship. But that's what that is. That's the reason why I believe it works. I think idol worship is a bit different. And I don't think that anything like, if you're into the zodiac, it's not necessarily worshipping anything. You're just observing. And seeing the way that these energies up there interact with the energies down here. And it's part of Hermetic wisdom, the as above, so below, the as within, so without, and the as the soul, so the universe. So it's things that definitely have links when it comes to the physical world that we're in being a reflection of the heavenly world, the spirit world. Just like the 6 is a reflection of the 9. Like if you see a 6 or a 9 on the floor, it depends on which way you're looking at it as to whether it's a 6 or whether it's a 9. It's that's an interesting point to bring up as well. I think it's always important to get more than one perspective on something. It's always good to get at least 3 perspectives, because one of you stood on one side of the symbol on the floor could see a 6 and say that's definitely a 6, and the person standing on the opposing side would look down at it and say no, it's definitely a 9. And neither one of you are correct or incorrect. What you're seeing is what you're seeing. It takes a third perspective, like someone standing on one of the middle sides and saying, oh no, it's just a symbol that looks like this. What you're seeing is a 6 and what you're seeing is a 9, because that's how we've come to recognize these symbols. And that third perspective, I think, is what gives you the perfect perspective. Like, it's a bit like having your 2 eyes and then having the third eye switched on that give you the third perspective. Like, everything stops being duality then, because you've got the all-seeing eye, which creates that third point of view, which gives you a much better understanding of everything that goes on around. It's that same understanding that people claim to get when they've had ayahuasca and things that affect the DMT in the third eye. Not that I would advise people to go and do ayahuasca trips. I think that that is one form of doing it, but that is a physical way of doing it. That's doing a physical thing to yield physical results. I think that the same thing can be achieved by doing other things that get you more onto a spiritual level, like sitting in stillness and silence, which is mentioned in Matthew 6:6 in the New Testament. So it's I can't get it word for word, plus there's many rewordings of it anyway, but when you pray, or when thou prayest, go inside the closet and shut the door and pray in silence, because the Father already knows of which you seek and will reward those who pray in silence. And don't use vain repetitions like the heathens do, because they think they'll be heard for their much talking. But if you sit in the stillness and the silence and just listen with your heart open and your ears open, you will receive everything you need to receive in that moment. That is how you pray. That is how you meditate. It's about the stillness and the silence. And there's a narrative that goes on in your head that tries to stop you achieving this state. And that narrative is trying to keep you in duality. That's the narrative that wants you and it to exist. That's the ego, which is known as I, which is the self. Ego means I in Latin. And it's the part of you that is just looking out for you to protect you in the physical world. The ego is something that helps you a lot in the physical world, but it keeps you in the physical world and stops you from reaching your higher brain just by constantly talking. So it will tell you while you are meditating, maybe it will say things like, oh, this isn't working, oh, it's not worked yet, oh, I just thought them. You know, any kind of number of thoughts that can arise will all come from that part of the brain, because it's got to test you. The testament is a test of mind. The ment is from mental, which is Latin for of the mind. And the test is whether or not you can read the book rather than listening to what they tell you in the churches, where they try and lock the book away from you and keep the knowledge hidden and tell you what certain passages say in their interpretation of it. If you can read it for yourself and understand things like Matthew 6:6, which 6 and 6 again representing the physical realm, to meditate is to sit in stillness and silence. And that's the way that you can listen and you can have everything become clear. And it only works when you quiet the mind and still the body. And this works best after you've been fasting, because you get rid of all of the urges in the body. You manage to get rid of all of the parts of your physiology that start suggesting things to you. Your ego comes up and starts telling you, oh, you're hungry. Why don't you go get some food and do this afterwards? And oh yeah, you've got this coming up. And what if someone walks in and, you know, you've got many different things in your body that are making noise at any given time. That creates the physiology, which then becomes the E in motion, which is your emotions, all of the energy around your body that's moving. And if you calm this down, one of the good ways of doing this is with breathing. Like I keep forgetting to take deep breaths. I find that when you do, you can calm the body down. If I do Wim Hof breathing techniques, which encourage you to feel your heartbeat and slow it down and feel everything in your body rather than think. You use the feeling side of your brain rather than the thinking side of your brain. And that manages to get you to a state where you get less thoughts arise. They still arise, but it's about recognizing them for what they are, letting them dissipate without giving them your energy. And that's the way to find the stillness and silence. And that's the way to get a connection with the Father. The Father who art in heaven. The inside is the outside. God exists within us all, like the yin and yang. You got the darkness exists within the light inside of you, and the light exists within the darkness inside of you. You have to go through the darkness to be able to see the light. The darkness is the unknown. The light is knowledge, the known. To find the inner you, the inner higher self, is to become sensitive to it and to shut the noise down. And in the stillness and silence, once your temple is ready, then he will appear to you. Say, if you build it, he will come. And that's where I like to think that I'm heading. I don't think that I'll be there for a while yet because I've done a lot of damage to my body over the years, and I think it's going to take a lot of time for me to fully clean my temple. But on the journey, and that's the destination, is to have a fully clean temple. And even if I never manage to receive that connection with our Father, I think that I will be happy to die trying. And I'll be proud of the steps that I made from where I used to be, as I was deep down in hell before, deep down in the heel. And yeah, I think service to others is what gets you there, whether it's physical world or whether it's the spiritual world. Service to others. I like to think I'm giving a good service here. I know it's early days yet, I've still got a lot to learn. But the idea is to create a space where people can come and talk about these things, and we can develop and get further along the journey together. Or you're welcome to just see this as a form of entertainment where I just talk about strange things that not many people talk about. And you can zone out to or talk to people in the chat when there's a chat going. So I used to do on my friends' chat. It's very entertaining. And every now and then you hear something that resonates and causes a spark of different thoughts to come to mind that you've not had before, or even thoughts that you have had before and forgotten. And it's special moments that I've personally experienced in the past that I'm hoping to help create for others, as I don't think I would have got here unless it was other people doing things like this that helped me to see that there was another way. And even with people that I've mentioned in wrestling that are out there providing service, like Cactus Jack, my favorite wrestler, only won, I think, 2 matches in his entire career with the WWE. And everything else, it was him doing a service for other wrestlers to help get them over, to help give the take a lot of abuse from them, basically bleed for them, take loads of damage to his body to help the audience to love them more, or to see them as more dark and more threatening than they had been seen, like The Rock and The Undertaker who was already a sensation at that point, but that Hell in a Cell became infamous, where he was thrown 20 foot off of the top of the steel Hell in a Cell cage through the announcer's table. It was like one of the most replayed moments in wrestling ever. And it damaged him so much that one of his incisor teeth broke through his lip, and you can see it in his nose. And apparently, when he was taken off on a stretcher, he handed it to one of the medical team and then fought his way back out into the ring to climb back on top of the cell and carry the fight on, and then got put through the cell and fell 16 foot to the middle of the ring. And that wasn't the only time he done it. He done it again when he was battling Triple H. He done it when he's battled anyone in the WWE, basically. He's helped them get more recognition from other people. It was like a selfless act. And the more that he put in, the more that he got out in the physical world. This is a thing that works. Now, I'm not advising anyone go out and do that much damage to their bodies or anything like that, but I do think that it's important to recognize that that's how things work, because giving selflessly works even whether it's working for light or working for dark. There's plenty of ways to do it doing light work. There's also plenty of ways to do it doing dark work. I would always recommend the light. I think it's far more rewarding in the long run. It's much less physically rewarding, but it does give a lot of physical rewards too. It's like if you do things like fasting, if you do things like abstaining from meat, it's like the physical rewards are less than the wonderful flavors that you get immediately through having the foods that you know and love. But the physical rewards long term are much better for you. They give you much more than the short term rewards can give, because this is something that requires dedication, it requires effort, it requires a lot of physical sacrifice, and that will yield a lot of physical results. And then the next stage, or the top stage of it, is sacrificing the thoughts of the mind, quieting the mind. They say you only use 10% of your brain at a time, and tithing is giving up 10% to the Lord. If you can give up that 10% of your brain, you gain access to the other 90% of it. The other 90% becomes illuminated. The third eye switches on, and the light appears through the crown chakra. The crown chakra is purple. Purple is always associated with royalty. This is when they say you become the king, or you manage to be in Christ consciousness, as Christ is often used to mean king in, I think, Latin. It's also known as Krishna consciousness, which I think Krishna means black in Sanskrit, but is referred, they have said, I think, about Jesus Christ being black. It's an interesting link. But the crown chakra being opened, giving you the Krishna consciousness, is also linked to Saturn, as it said that this Christic knowledge that happens, it's Santa comes down the chimney and gives rewards, gives presents for those who have been good, or just gives coal to those who have been bad. The coal is used to light fires, isn't it? So it's either giving you presence, which is presence in terms of being, rather than presence as in like wrapped up gifts that you would give to someone. That's just like a physical symbolized equivalent. The presence that you would get is the Christ consciousness, which is when Santa comes down the chimney after you've managed to complete the cycle of um, the seed. They say the chrism oil. I think chrism in Greek means oil or Christ, one of the two. So it will go through your system and rise up through the chakras. Now, the chakras are not physical things that you can find inside of your body, but they are areas of the body that have the energy around them. And if you've got this energy, this is said to be the Kundalini energy. This is something that people have felt when they've done yoga or they've done other practices that have managed to achieve this level of enlightenment through meditation and strict abstaining from certain foods. I think people have done it on sattvic diets, which is mainly fruit and veg, but also things like milk. This is like a vegetarian equivalent of uh, sattvic includes things like milk and ghee, but then this is got to be from animals that are well looked after. And I imagine in a place where cows are seen as holy, that fits that they would be very well looked after. Find it also quite funny that when you meditate, they often chant which is the reverse of what cows would say. You go moo. Oh, very chilled out, meditating cows at that point. The hippie cows that are able to moo in the way that one would yeah, it's quite interesting, some of these links. And I'm going to do my best to keep highlighting these links that I've discovered. Not all these discoveries were internal. Some of them were external from watching people like Santos Bonacci, Justin Carpenter, Charlie Freak. There's a guy who I've seen does shorts that is very much the same kind of Christic knowledge, gnosis. His name Harry B. Truman. You can see he's got a channel on YouTube. I'm going to try and link all four of these into the show notes when I'm done when I make the live stream public. So if you're interested, you should be able to see some of their work. There's many, many others over the years, too many to list, who I've seen the same knowledge. But what I did find is that once I found this path of fasting and eating fruit, this knowledge all found me. I didn't have to go looking for it. It came to me. Like, I discovered Santos Bonacci before I made the switch, but I discovered so much more after I'd made the switch. All of the knowledge just started coming in, and I find that the more I share the knowledge as well, the more just turns up, the more that gets shared with me, almost like a perfect reflection. And I think that this is things that I could have easily overlooked when I was stuck in the root chakras or thinking with what they say is the left brain. The left brain is facts, figures, and logic. The right brain is lore, legend, and magic. And I think you need an equal amount of both to walk the central path, which is the Christic path. But people that are too far in the left brain, in order to gain certain knowledge, you'd need to move over to the right brain and stop thinking with just facts, figures, and logic and start looking at symbolism and things that line up. Start looking at the bigger picture of things that are going on a much grander scale, on a macro and micro scale. And once you start getting that, that's when things start to balance a lot more. Obviously, still exercise using the critical brain with facts, figures, and logic and try and figure things out that way. But moving over to the right is even mentioned in the Bible when there was the fishermen that were having trouble catching fish. And Jesus said to them, cast your nets to the right, and then you will catch the fish. You will catch more fish. The fish represents knowledge or gnosis, like the ichthys fish of Jesus. And he was talking about the right and the left side of your brain. If you cast the net to the right, you'll be able to catch this knowledge. And this knowledge is what feeds you, because it's more than just bread alone that feeds us. But in the Lord's Prayer, where he talks about give us our daily bread, this is the breadcrumbs of knowledge that come down from above, that give us this side of the knowledge or the gnosis. And I find that the best thing to do after gathering this knowledge is to apply some of it and see how it affects your life. Because I did that and I've never turned back. I've made this my entire life. I gave up so many things because this was so much better. I gave up alcohol. I gave up hard man-made drugs. I gave up psychedelics in the end. Not that I'd never do them again, but I have no intention to in the near or distant future. Just if the opportunity comes up, I may take it. Never say never, but no plans to. I'm even planning on smoking less weed. Planning on not smoking it daily anymore, but to use it, maybe I'll start eating it at different points instead, but to use it sparingly, to have a lot less of it and try and enjoy just the fruits of clean living and the benefits that that gives you. And yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough to see some of this knowledge and apply it to your life, like deep breathing. I don't breathe deeply often as I should, but that will definitely be the stage I think that gets you further up the chain of chakras after getting over the root chakra, which is the anger. And that I think comes from the food. Uh, Once you eliminate a lot of the salty food, you manage to become a less of a salty person. You're less reactive, more um, responsive or responsable. And then you start moving up to, then you got pride and the the sacral chakra. I think is more about getting over porn addictions. Something I don't talk about very much, but don't I practice non-ejaculatory sex when I do anything of that nature. I gave up masturbating or ejaculating. I gave up porn. I mean, in the sense of the way that I used to have an addiction to it. I gave up the hold that it had over me. I mean, I'm not against looking at pornography. I'm not demonizing pornography. I do think that a lot of it is very sadistic, and they try and keep you in the lower mind using it. But not to say that every porn star out there is a certain way. There's a lot of people that do things that are, and each their own. I'm not judging, but people do get addicted to these things. And if you are constantly ejaculating, you're constantly releasing the, you're releasing a lot of minerals that the body needs to replace on the physical level. But each of the sperm that would be released would contain within it enough of a soul to create a human being. So I think that it's important that these things get noted, that you may be losing part of your soul every time you ejaculate, or it takes time to build this back up. So it would be good to give yourself a break in between rather than having it be a daily occurrence. For me, it was often many times in a day. And since changing that, I've managed to overcome that quite well. That's been a life changing experience, but that's a discussion that I could say for another day to go a bit deeper into. The next chakra up is the solar plexus chakra, which is the breathing, which I think you've got deep breathing, which leads into meditation. If you manage to do deep breathing exercises before meditating, you help maintain that state of balance. And I think that that is what brings you up to the green anahata chakra, the heart chakra, which is able to help you find balance as it's the middle chakra. And at that stage, it's not far then to move. That's where you receive a nice state of euphoric feeling in your body. You feel like a deeper connectivity with everything. You're able to, as the green chakra, you can connect with the three higher chakras and the three lower chakras on small doses. And you can experience the love for both. You can experience the love for the righteous and love for the sinners. You say there's a saying about love the sinner, hate the sin, and that's generally what it refers to when you can get into this green state. This is the state of what Jesus would have been in, because Jesus, being the character, the main character of the Bible, fits into the same kind of balanced character uh, creation structure that you see in a lot of things. If you've seen Dragon Ball Z, the anime, you get Goku was often depicted carrying the 4-star Dragon Ball, and Goku was based on Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. You often see Goku who's riding a Nimbus cloud, and he's got the extendable stick. Forgotten what that's called in the earlier days. And the main characters often follow that pattern. Harry Potter followed that pattern. You have 1 second. I'm going to check Discord to see if I've got. Nope, not had any messages on here for a while, so I was just checking if I come out of the stream there. Gonna go back into it quickly and see if anyone's been trying to message me and it's not been showing up. So here we go. Nope. Nah, no more messages. That's good. I'm up to speed. Right. Yeah, I had the main character in animes and in a lot of things like Harry Potter was riding the Nimbus 2000 cloud, uh, broomstick, which is representing the Nimbus cloud. The Monkey King is based on the sun's journey to die in the west, or journey to the west, as the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So these are all what the hero is based on. It's based on the sun, and the sun always has the links to the balanced green chakra. It's the solar plexus chakra is just underneath, but the heart chakra is heart is an anagram of earth, and the sun is what provides all of the light and all of the nourishment for the earth. So you'll often see that the sun's journey is the same as the characters in these animes and the characters in these stories that we watch. Like a lot of the greatest stories that have ever been written have been based on the sun traveling through its the 12 houses. So you got like Hercules, the 12 labors of Hercules. You've got um, Jason and the Argonauts. I think there was 12 Argonauts. You've got Jesus and the 12 disciples. And you often see these tropes. There'll all be the 12 gods of the Olympus. You got the 12 characters. You got Jung's 12 Jungian archetypes. Like a lot of these things, they all syncretizing the same ancient wisdom that's appeared time and time again. There's nothing new under the sun. We're just watching the same story told in a million different ways. And I find that you're able to recognize this the more you come into the higher chakras. On the lower chakras, you're more inclined to just, has it got violence in it? Good. Has it got sex in it? Good. I'm happy with it. That's your general Netflix. That's your black and red of Netflix. Black representing Saturn, red representing Mars. Um, all about war and about the squaring the circle. All of the darker elements of life, and the characters that follow the 4-star Dragon Ball, like the fourth chakra, the heart chakra. They're able to be versatile characters because they can interact with the characters that are on the higher chakras and the characters that are on the lower chakras. They're the ones that are able to form a quad with both. So you can either be the uh, middle chakra that hangs about the lower chakras all the time, or the middle chakra that hangs about the higher chakras all the time. Usually there's periods that the main characters will go through where they have both to give you a full extent of the sun's journey. Like different stories that appear in the Bible, you'd get things like Samson and Delilah. Well, Samson is Sam's son, is representative of Leo, which has the big golden locks of hair that were cut off by Delilah. Delilah in Hebrew means the night, as the nighttime cuts off the sun's rays, which is the maiden Delilah cutting off the rays of the sun, which are represented by the lion. That's the lion's mane, which is Leo, and the maiden would be Virgo as the Virgin Mary. The virgins that went and harvested the corn is associated with Virgo. Lions are associated with pride. A collective noun for lions is a pride of lions, and the lions having their lion having the pride. The pride comes before the fall, which was Samson having his hair cut off and then he lost his power. So that's the sun coming out of Leo, where the sun's just been at the peak in Cancer and is now at the like pride sign of Leo, where it's booming out with its luscious rays, and then is cut off by Delilah. And then as it moves into Virgo, you'll get the rays will disappear. Then after Virgo, you'd get Libra, which is the beginning of autumn or fall, which is the fall of man, which is pride coming before the fall. So all of this knowledge has been syncretized into like different workings of ancient wisdom. You'll find it in the Bible, you'll find it in the zodiacal signs, you'll find it in the alphabet. But I should save that for another video because that's another thing. There's in the numbers going from 0 to 9. But again, that'd be another video. There's loads of things. Harry Potter would be one of them. I think even the 7 Horcruxes would be representative of 7 sins or 7 virtues, but I haven't gone as far into working out which one would be which. I think one of them was a ring. It makes sense. Symbolism for Saturn. You got Lord of the Rings, which is a very famous one. Aragorn is actually the same gematria as Jesus, which is 74, I believe. 7 and 4 make 11, which is the father number, which is in numerology seen as the master father number. And 11 being the father is breakdown of the word, courtesy of Black Sheep Researcher, is the Aleph in, which is the father, Aleph being the father number, the master father number, the master father letter from the Hebrew language, which represents 1 and 1,000. The Aleph is even made up of a yod, and a vav, and the 2 yods are connected to the vav. There's a yod above and a yod below, as above, so below. And there's the Vav in between. The Vav is the 6th letter. The Vav is the physical world. So the physical world is the barrier between the higher self and the lower self. So the Yod above and the Yod below. The Yod is the 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. 1 and 0 is 1. So you've got the 1 and the 1. So we've been split into duality here, but that is the state of the Aleph, which is God in the physical realm. In order for the to be anything in the physical realm, God would have had to create it out of God, because if all that existed prior to that was God, then that is the material that God would have had to use as well as the thing that was creating it. This is why a lot of people would refer to God as nature or the forces of nature. This is another way of describing the kind of energy that it is. It's not just a man in the sky that people like to picture. It's an energy that is encapsulating everything within it, and everything on the physical world is a reflection of it in different forms. So the Aleph that represents the higher and lower self being connected by the Vav, which is also the Vav is linked to reflections in the very center of the Torah. You get the Vav, which is the biggest letter of the uh, entire book. I think it's the biggest Vav that appears in the book anyway. It appears bigger than the normal Vav, and it is the exact middle letter of the book if you counted every letter. And it is in the middle of the word gorkon, which means belly, which is the middle of the body. So I think that that's a very interesting link for the Vav being a reflection. Even the Vav, VAV, uh, is a palindrome. It's the same backwards as forwards. Made another video where I talk a lot about this. It was in, I think it was my video called Links and Dinks of Saturn. If not, it was Links and Dinks of the Fool. Yes, it was Links and Dinks of the Fool, because the Fool was the first tarot card. And the first tarot card is representative of the letter Aleph, which is it's actually the card is the number 0, because it represents both the beginning and the end of the major arcana. Arcana, I believe, translates as secrets. You've got the major arcana and minor arcana, which is the big secrets and the little secrets. So these are just, the tarot card deck is something else where ancient wisdom was infused into it, syncretized into it. And I've got the Rider White tarot deck here that I use to show people, because they've got the things that are mentioned, the symbolism in the cards is very much a reflection of the world around. You've got, I'm going to do my best to cover the bits here. You've got the lovers that got a little naked Adam and Eve on here. I'm going to cover them because I'm not entirely sure if the live stream will get cut down if I show boobs. But yeah, there's Adam and Eve on the lovers card, which is the 6th card, which is what you would have to experience the physical world. You got the physical lovers, Adam and Eve, who came down to the physical world as they decided to eat the forbidden fruit, and that gave them their ticket down here. So you've also got the devil card, which I find quite interesting. Need to cover them up again. They're always naked, Adam and Eve, aren't they? Ah, sorry, you got to see Eve's bosoms there for a second. So yeah, you've got the devil in this card. It's the 15th card. It is 1 and 5, which makes 6. And you've got Adam and Eve in the devil's world in this picture. They're next to the devil's throne, and they're chained to it. But if you look closely, you can see that the chains are loose, meaning that Adam and Eve could leave anytime they want. It's just an illusion that they're being kept here. Maybe it's that they enjoy the desires of the flesh that the devil will allow. And where it's linked to the number 6 again, that's representing Saturn and Saturn's world, the physical world. You actually get the Temperance card as the 14th card. Temperance is what you find when you start fasting or when you start meditating. And as soon as you start this journey, you'll find that the devil comes straight after. The devil always follows temperance. So you've got the story of Jesus in the Lent, is 40 days in the desert, which is quite appropriate for this video as we're in Lent at the moment. It's Lent is the period of time just after you got the spring equinox, which is where day and night are at equal length, and Lent starts just before the spring equinox, and finishes just after the spring equinox. It changes date every year, but this is the time that they say the days start lengthening, so hence the name Lent. And this is the time where 46-day period, where if you minus the 6 Sundays, it's a 40-day period representing Jesus going through the desert for 40 days. And when Jesus was going through the desert, there was the devil with him saying, but you are the Son of God, you are the Lord. Why do you not turn this rock into a loaf of bread, satisfy your hunger? And he's like, get behind me, Satan. Not today, Satan. Like, it's whenever you find the path of temperance, you will get the ego there that tries to convince you away from it. It's this narrative that needs you to stay in the physical world as a matter of its survival. It wants you to live with it in the physical world, and that is the world of duality. So a lot of people that talk about having ego death, but I don't believe that that actually works. You don't. It's not a death of the ego. Your ego still exists. It's always there with you. It's like your butthole. You don't manage to get rid of your butthole. You will, you could lose it in an accident maybe, or you could surgically remove it, but there's still something that the food needs to come out of. There would still be a butthole of some variety. It's like you can't cut a magnet in half because both ends of the magnet will have a north pole and a south pole. But what they talk about with ego death is more where you no longer have the attachment to the physical world that causes you to not be able to give up these desires of the flesh. And I think that that is the idea of killing off the ego, is to quieten the mind. The ego is there to test you. And if you manage to pass the test, it's not going to go away. It will come back in a couple of days and test you again. Like, this test will be a thing that you wake up with every day, just like your butthole. You wake up with it every day. It needs wiping. Like, you're not going to. It needs wiping every day. It's not something that's just a one and done thing. Like, kind of losing my trail of thought now. Maybe I got my head in my butthole for a moment. The main idea there was that you have the devil turn up whenever you find temperance. And that's reflected in the tarot cards as well as in many other things, in many other stories that follow the sun story. And the Aleph that I was mentioning is representative of the father and the son in a way, also the mother and the daughter in another way. But the general balance in this form of collective knowledge is that the woman rules over the physical bodies, as bodies are a thing of beauty, and they tend to be things like they say that the home is the woman's domain. Like, you can tell when a woman lives in a home because she adds the woman's touch. Like, the men are quite good for making things usable, functional, but the women are very good at the decoration that goes into it. Even the Rider Waite tarot deck was designed by Pamela Coleman Smith, who's done a wonderful job at encoding all of these pieces of gnosis into the cards, which is why I chose to use them for my Links and Dinks of the Tarot series, which I will get back to making as soon as I manage to find time to put in. Recently, it hasn't felt right to put things out. I'm now something like 40 hours into a dry fast, and it felt right today to come on and do a live stream. I've been on for about 3 hours now, so I'm going to get going soon. But it's been great. And for those of you that have been watching, you're more than welcome to subscribe if you wanted to see another one as it comes up, or I've got many videos that you can watch. I'm not looking for YouTube fame. I'm not really about the likes and shares or anything. I mean, I'd personally like to treat this as a bit of a fight club where the first two rules is that you don't talk about it, as it is sharing quite deep levels of ancient wisdom and gnosis that's often encoded into things, so it's only certain brains that will be able to find it. But I'm quite confident in the knowledge that the way that I waffle on in my videos, if you've made it 3 hours, 3 minutes in, you're welcome to the knowledge by this state, because something that's kept you here has not of the left brain. It's of the right brain. It's of being into the lore, legend, and magic, which it fits the criteria for being into the reading the deeper levels of scripture, seeing the deeper meanings. Like for the left brain, tarot cards is what fake psychics use to try and sell you a fortune, and it could cost you a fortune. But right brain is recognizing all of the symbolism in there and how it relates to the external world. And it's another form of as within, so without, which is Hermetic wisdom, which is said to be passed down from Hermes himself, who is the messenger, and his also known as Mercury in the Roman pantheon. And Mercury is known as Quicksilver, which is the liquid metal. Mercury Day is Wednesday, which is Odin's Day, but also Suyobi, which is Water Day. And as Odin means one in Russian, this all links to hydrogen, which is the element that creates water, along with oxygen. But the conductor of electricity makes it interesting that he's the messenger. This electricity would be seen as a form of light, which is a form of knowledge, then the knowledge helps get transferred by the water or the messenger, which is Hermes, which is why I believe in the seven Hermetic laws. I also think that it's quite interesting that the seven, I'll see if I can one day syncretize those with the seven sins and the seven chakras, as I do think it's very interesting the way that it all plays out. But yeah, I'm going to start wrapping up the stream. I've got time for questions. If anyone's got any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. I'll do my best to answer in the best way possible. I don't see myself as a guru. I see myself as a reflection of yourself. We're all reflections of each other in this world. And I think, Joseph Plays says hi. Hi, Joseph. Nice to have you with us. I'm just at the end of a stream here, or just starting to wrap up. So you're welcome to ask any questions if you have any questions you want to ask. But otherwise, I'm going to do my Jerry Springer's final thought. It's just mentioning here that I don't see myself as a guru. I think that I'm just a reflection of yourself that you'd be watching as a projection from your own being. And like even a guru is only there to remind you of who you are on your own being. Like if you ever see Mooji, Mooji. Mooji is someone I'd consider to be a guru. He's someone who's a master at helping remind you of who you are. I'm someone on a journey. He's someone that can take you through guided meditation in a satsang and strip away everything else until you just feel like you are one with the boundless ocean that is the first element that created everything. I think that we are all one. And at the end of the game, the pawn and the king go back in the same box. So we will all, at the end of all of this, be reunited as the one that split itself into trillions and trillions of beings to help experience this. Um, yeah, I appreciate that, Joe. It's interested me for a long time. And I find that the more that I learn about these things, the more that I get to learn about these things, the more that I do research and the more things that I find, the more ideas that come to being. And these things have found me just through the path that I'm on. I do my best to share them as much as possible with everyone. I honestly believe that everyone that's meant to find this channel and everyone that's meant to find me and what I'm talking about, they will find it. Like I don't do any promotion. I don't even add tags to my videos anymore. I don't care too much to be out there getting attention for being a YouTuber. I just like sharing this information and knowing that other people will find their way to it the same way as I found my way to other people talking about these things. So that's my deal. That's what I try and do. I'm not really in it for money or anything. I mean, I have got a buy me a coffee thing that I set up, but all of the money that's donated there is just sat there. Like, I'm appreciative of the people that have donated and that, but It's not what I'm asking for. This is all free, and I want it to remain free forever. I don't ever want to charge people for this information. This is things that other people gave me for free, and it's beautiful. And I'm doing well. I don't want for much. I don't want for money or anything. Like I like fasting and eating fruit. I like eating simple meals that don't cost that much to make, that involve just doing home cooking and having wholesome food. And all of that has helped find my way to a path that's delivered on information. I've found out from people like Santos Bonacci, who is not claiming it's his information. He's found out through other people like uh, Pierluigi Guino or something, and Alvin Boyd Kuhn, who I've bought a couple of his books and other things. This is all wisdom that's just been passed down and passed down and passed down, and that's the main reason I try and do my streams, is just to help pay this forward, just pass on the information, because it's helped my life no end, and I'm going to keep trying to do that as much as I can. And I believe honestly that as long as I'm out here doing goodwill, the Lord will find ways to allow me to continue doing it. And I've got no worries and no quarrel on any of that. So yeah, like, you guys are more than welcome to subscribe. Ah, I see Joseph just said he subscribed. Appreciate you, Joseph. You're more than welcome. I'm happy with you being here. Please come back, jump into the chats, or get a chat going when more of my regulars are on. Sometimes some really good chats get going. It can be really fun. And I like having conversations with people that are interested in this kind of thing. I like it when people ask me questions, especially if it challenges things that I've not thought about, or reminds me of things that I thought about years ago and not looked at again in a while. So yeah, like, all of what I'm telling is things that I've found from other people, and little things that I've noticed myself, little interesting links between things. I'm not here trying to tell anyone this is how it is, just trying to share what I've discovered and share how I've discovered it. And I think I do my best to try and link you to all of the people that I discovered it from, same as Santos Bonacci used to link people to all of the videos that he'd seen. And Autodidactic is another one. I'll link him. He's a very good guy, Campbell. He talks about amazing things on his channel, mainly to do with Tartaria and mud floods, but still very wholesome stuff. And I think that, yeah, with Santos Bonacci sharing all of the books that he'd got his wisdom from, I'm going to do my best to share all of the places that I get mine from. I'll even sometimes do book readings and stuff like that. One of the places I get my information from tarot cards is from the 78 Degrees of Wisdom book, which was recommended by Aaron Gorn. I've forgotten his surname now. That's a shame, but I will link to one of his videos in the comments for this as well. He was a guy that used to do podcasts with Charlie Freak. So I'll link the video that I watched with his run through of the tarot cards in this video. So that's about all that I've got to share for now. I've been on here for over 3 hours, and I think it's about time that I went and spent some time with my mum. We're going to go play some Minecraft together, and that way I've not been ignoring her for too long by coming out to do this. Yeah, I appreciate you all for being here. As I say, you're welcome to subscribe, or to uh, you can watch any of my earlier videos, or come join us again when I'm doing another stream. I'm hoping to do a lot more like this. We'll just all be able to have a general chat and see where it leads. Just open discussions about everything and anything. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more.